Yes, I am Blue Beleno. Hey, Chris, how's it going? Just a quick question. Do you guys hear any echoes or is everything okay? You can't hear me. That is a problem. I just changed my mic. Is this better or worse? Okay. Okay, looks like people say they can hear me. Good to you, yeah. Perfect. So yeah, we're just trying to make sure everything's okay. Nice seeing your face. Thanks for everything you do. Thank you guys for coming out. This event took a lot of organizing, took a lot of people helping out. I want to give a special shout out to Matt from the tribe. Definitely helped me organize the whole thing. And then obviously the guests, Chris, who's in the audience right now, for showing up, taking his time out of his day. He's a very busy man, especially with the token swap, which is I'm sure we get into a little bit later. So yeah, we still got about 10 minutes before we officially go live. I just want to make sure everyone who is supposed to be here is here. I'm actually getting quite a bit of echo on my end. You guys are not getting anything? Okay. Loud and clear. Okay. I mean, as long as you guys can hear fine, then I have no problem with that. So, yeah. Okay. Is Fuzzy in the crowd? Fuzzy. I'm trying to get to Fuzzy. And is Max here? Fred, I think, is in the crowd. Fred, if you would just say hi. No. Always fun. Technical difficulties. Okay, so don't worry. Fred was just here a second ago. We're testing the settings. Looks like you could probably hear me typing, which is not great. Yeah, Team EOS. Got my little EOS t-shirt going on. More people joining as we start. Yes, I am Big Blue Whale. So you might see me floating around if you ever on EOS discussions. My handle is Big Blue Whale. That is my EOS account name. I am the most prolific poster on EOS discussions. So that's something. So I see an audience, Max. Max is there. It's a t-shirt a giveaway. No, the t-shirt is only if you have attended the hackathons. So I was in 2 of the hackathons. So the London one and the San Francisco one. So those are EOS hackathons hosted by Block One. That's how I kind of officially got into the EOS space. But yeah. So unfortunately, no t-shirt giveaway. We are hoping to have discussions t-shirts sometime in the future. So maybe we do like a discussions t-shirt giveaway. Okay, Max. Yes, Max is on. Fuzzy is still not on. Fred is on. There we go. Perfect. Fred is on. Okay. Looks like Fuzzy won't be joining us today. Can't reach him. So instead, I'm gonna have Max come on to join me as the co-host. In the meantime, so Max, you ready? Let me know. Okay, I'm gonna invite Max on. Our number's actually shooting up. Like it was like 150 when we first started the event. I guess people just trying late. Hello, Max.
What's up, bro? How's it going?
Good, good. Nice to see you on.
Good to see you, bro. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, for sure. Just quick check. Is there any echoes for the audience? Everything cool?
Let me just make sure my camera's in the right position. Make it like that a second. Is that better? There we go. Yeah, man, I'm excited.
Fantastic.
We've got a whole host of guests on, haven't we? We've got Fred, Ben. Well, Ben Sigman's not coming on anymore, is he? He can't make it. But we've got Chris Dawe, Stan Larimer's coming on. We've got Carlos, Kurt, Braget, and then we've obviously got Dice.One team as well. So it's going to be an exciting one. Are you excited, brother?
I am super, super excited. Yeah. We have like an all-star lineup. We have like amazing hosts as well. So we're gonna have Zack come on a little bit, hosting Stan. So it's gonna be a fantastic show. But we might even have an extra surprise individual who might come in to host. But you know, we don't know about that.
I've messaged him, but I'm not 100% if he can make it. I think he's busy. But if I get a message from him, we'll get him involved as well.
Perfect, perfect. Sounds good. Okay, so initially what we plan to do is kind of do like an introduction between me and Fuzzy, but Fuzzy's not here, so I'm gonna cover his spot as well.
Yep.
So we just give it a few minutes since we officially start in another 5.
That's it. Well, I'll just introduce myself. Like, if you don't know, Max Dapp here. I talk about the EOS blockchain a lot. I also talk about dApps. I do reviews of, like, at the moment, majority of the stuff I do is kind of like, it's mainly EOS based, but I do reviews of Tron dApps as well. You know, Tron, IOST, I talk about just everything and, you know, everything and anything blockchain based, really. And it's just such an exciting future. Also, I talk about Bitcoin and monetary policies and just like, we're all the brainchilds of Dan Larimer. And it's just, you know, it's a great space to be a part of. Like, this industry is just going to, is growing so fast. Like you know, EOS especially, you know, every week.
Yeah,
I got my t-shirt on, you can see here. But
oh, nice. I got my little EOS t-shirt.
Bro, we're EOS. This isn't my EOS hat. I've got an EOS hat as well, but I wasn't going to double brand it. You got to be a bit, got to diversify. But now it's the hackathons were great though. I went to the London hackathon, Jay.
What did I do in the hackathon?
Were you at the London hackathon?
Yeah. I was at the London hackathon and I was at the San Francisco hackathon.
Nice.
Yeah, we actually managed to place top 10 at the London hackathon. So pretty proud.
I was there, but I was just like watching. I didn't get
yeah. Did you see me pitch then? I mean, you must have been on the audience.
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I did see you pitch. I remember. Yeah. I can't remember the exact project, but I remember seeing you pitch. Like, and that hackathon was what like sold me with EOS, because I got into EOS like, you know, after Steam basically. But you know, after that hackathon, I was like, dude, I got to start a channel talking about this project because it's just so exciting. The future for everything going on EOS basically.
Yeah. I mean, there were so many like high caliber people so many venture capitalists sitting there, I was actually pretty nervous because like collectively they managed something like $500 million, $1 billion of venture capital. So I was super nervous.
Yeah, like the I find that as well. Like the talent which has been sort of absorbed into EOS is so high quality. Like we've got so many different people from so many different areas. Like whether it's the CEO Dan Larimer all the way to CTO Brendan. Sorry, other way around. And then you've got people like Brock Pierce in the teams. So obviously, I'm gonna have to go through everyone now, but all the quality of all the dApps being built, like you see on a lot of other chains, like a lot of like gambling dApps. But I think the real cool, like let's not like talk about EOS too much because it's like more general. But the really cool stuff is definitely happening in EOS at the minute, I think.
Yeah, and there's a lot of projects moving to EOS, which we're gonna talk to one of them coming soon. So
exactly, man.
Exciting.
So we're waiting for Fred, aren't we? We got pixEOS first with Fred, and they've got. I literally did a video on their new pixEOS machine, slot machine. With EOS Real. So shout out to those guys. They're working alongside with Fred, and it's just an awesome game. Like I'm not a big slots man myself, but it's definitely like seeing the community all meshing together and collaborating on things. It's so powerful for the future, bro.
Yeah, definitely. Like that's one of the things I think Dice, like another project we're gonna have on. Very early on, they adapted a lot of different tokens into their game, which I think makes a lot of sense. Like it just adds value to their game and to the other projects. So like that's something really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I think like I don't see how like there is a place for centralized businesses. Like there's always gonna be a place for that. And I had a really good discussion with Sebastian van der Lans about this. But like, how can a centralized business really compete with a decentralized one? Because what happens is everybody who's incentivized in one direction will come together. And it's like, think about Google, right? It probably has about 5,000 shareholders, but EOS technically could kind of have like hundreds of thousands of shareholders because everybody's a part of the ecosystem. It's like how can a centralized business compete with that into the long term? I just don't think it can. So it's such an exciting space, man.
Yeah, definitely. Not only are we all shareholders, we're all shareholders of all these different companies built on top of EOS. It's like
exactly,
Yeah,
it's like the incentive structures of the future are just going to be so mind blowing. Like I don't think you can even imagine what it's going to be like. It's like taking a caveman and dropping him in New York City. It's like, whoa, what the hell happened there? I think that's what's going to happen in the next maybe 20 to 50 years. That's going to be the same thing. You take someone from the 90s, drop him in 2015. He's like, what the hell happened there?
It's like, what are these electric cars moving around?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. And it's like exponential curve of growth as well. Like when you look at exponential curves in general, it's like I don't think human beings can even understand how mental they are. It's like there's a really good analogy, which is like if you have a droplet of water and you double it every second, it will take only 8 minutes to fill up a whole football stadium. And the majority of the growth happens in the last 30 seconds. It's like boom, 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 boom. And that's what we're kind of doing with blockchain. It's like exponentially growing. As more people come in, then there's more dApps, and then there's more this, there's more that. It's like, so it's super exciting.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so it's approaching the hour. Looks like the people who are joining are also increasing exponentially. So, all right, I'm just gonna start us off. So, welcome to the second ever Endless Dappathon. This is a Dappathon hosted originally by Jack and Fuzzy. Fuzzy's not here. Max is gonna be my co-host for the day. So I'm just gonna share with you the two projects behind this event, EOS discussion and StakeMine. So I'm gonna share my screen a little bit.
We've got a lot of questions coming in as well. Millions.
Yeah, definitely leave all your questions in the chat so we could ask the project founders in just a bit. Okay, so over here. Okay, you guys can see my screen, right?
We can now see another screen. So there's me and you in the corner in the bottom left.
Okay, cool. You can see my computer screen?
It mine's blank, but I don't know about anybody else.
So
let's have a look.
So hey chat, can you see my screen?
Let's have a look. Can you see the computer screen? I can see. Okay, I think it's just me. Carry on, brother.
Okay, cool. So this is EOS discussion. We are a on-chain discussions forum. We use the system contract. So, the code is as good as it gets. What we did is build a beautiful UI on top of it, where we let different projects come on and try to build the community on chain. We think it's something that's very important. Having your community on chain, like that's where your real users are. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. We cover basically all the projects that exist in the space. And if you're a project out there and you're watching and we don't have you on already, reach out to us, drop us a message on our Telegram, and we'll be more than happy to add you. We don't charge anything. That's not what we're doing. We're just doing this to build out the community, and we want EOS discussion to kind of be the gateway into EOS, where when someone's visiting, like they're interested in EOS, and they want to get into it for the first time. They could just start using the site. Our site doesn't require you to have an EOS account. As a matter of fact, we're working on a way that allows you to get an EOS account if you don't already have one. So lots of exciting stuff are coming up. We are doing an AMA that started yesterday. It's going to continue the day after. So if you have any questions regarding how our platform works and what we're trying to do drop us a question or a message, and we'll be happy to answer. So that's for us, and since Fuzzy's not here, I'm gonna also cover his project, which is StakeMine. StakeMine shares the same philosophy as us, where they want to empower all the EOS projects that are out there, and not everyone have the money to invest, or maybe they don't feel is secure to invest into different projects they don't know that much about yet. So what they did is they created a system where instead of giving money to different projects, what you could do instead is stake EOS in exchange for those tokens. So here you can see Sports Hub is one of their first projects. I think one play was on here a little while back. All you do is stake your EOS tokens, and then in exchange you get a certain amount of project tokens each and every single day. So you can see here, if you stake 1 EOS, you get this much SHC, which is the Sports Hub token. And very simple, very straightforward. Fuzzy told me that he designed the system to be risk-free. That means that the wallet is never going to lose. The EOS never leaves your wallet. You just stake it to a specific contract. So yeah, there's no risk to it. If you're interested in the project and you don't want to, just buy the token, you can just stake your EOS on that project. So that's that.
Yeah, I saw the StakeMine. It's really interesting, especially in the DApp case. Because like when you look at dApps, a lot of the time you have to buy the dividend token, the native token to the project, and it comes with risk, because that token can crash or can go up. So you can make money, you can lose money, but it's just another added layer on top of the EOS token, which is already volatile in itself. So the stake mining system is powerful, man, because it means we've got the Rex now, but it means that you can get your dividends without having to actually risk your being an investor. You don't have to be a trader or an investor anymore. You can actually just put your EOS into it, get a dividend, hey presto. So really exciting stuff. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Fuzzy was telling me that how a lot of people are losing their EOS, and a lot of people just don't want to, give away the EOS. They have the EOS stake, and that's not doing anything. Like now, like you said, we have the Rex system, but Rex is just for that. It's just generating revenue. With this system, the projects actually get the benefit of the CPU and the bandwidth. So it's good for the investor and it's good for the project. It's a win-win. Exactly. Yeah, and we're going to see more models like this, like the whole, buying a dividend token model probably won't even be, it'll probably still be around for certain projects, but we're going to see a whole plethora of different type of ideas coming to fruition, man. So I'm excited to see what we can see in the future. Yeah, exactly.
So that's EOS and StakeMine, but there's a lot of different community members that come together to make this event possible. Of course, Max is one. Actually, you can actually see the live stream of the event on Max's channel as well as on Zack's channel. So, they're helping us broadcast out.
So, yeah, it's live right now. Obviously, the chat isn't interactive, but yeah, if you go over to www.youtube.com/c/maxdapp, you can see it there as well. But just stay in this one because it's more interactive. But if you want to ever like look back at it, go on my channel. I do dapp reviews. I talk about EOS blockchain a lot. You can probably tell. And yeah, just general cool EOS stuff, man, and just crypto stuff because crypto is such an important space. It's so important for the future. We've all got to be a part. We're all the community, and we've got to be a part of it, man.
Definitely. So I'm seeing a lot of questions for StakeMine. Unfortunately, we're not covering StakeMine today, but you could drop all your questions on their sub, StakeMine, and they will be more than happy to answer you. Just before we start, I want to give a big thanks to, again, Matt from Tribe, who's helping me out a lot, Daniel from EOS Nairobi. We have our sponsors, dapp.com, and we have banner space from dapp.review. They were very generous to give us a big spot on the front page of the website to attract new users into the EOS ecosystem. So I want to give them a big shout out. Obviously, EOS Go for helping us spread the message. We have, oh man, there's so many people. We have EOS Nation helping us also spread the message. And we have Attic Lab, who is a sponsor as well. They've been giving out free EOS accounts. And so if you're watching this and you don't already, and you still haven't had an EOS account, reach out to us on Telegram, and we'll be more than happy to give you an EOS account. And I want to thank Sergey from Block Salt, who helped organize the event and write all those fantastic emails. So that's everybody that helped us create the Dappathon. So let's get into it. So right now I'm going to invite Fred onto the show.
Let's do it. Loads of questions coming in. It's crazy. We got 190 people, 189 people in the live. Yeah. Lovely. Shout out to
so we're just waiting for Fred to come on. I hope I'm getting the right Fred. If there are multiple Freds, that'd be funny.
You're gonna get some random Fred off the street, you know?
Yeah.
How you doing, brother?
Oh man, I did invite the wrong Fred.
So I asked a question to the people in the crowd. Let's ask a funny question. Let's say, don't know what to ask, bro. Let me think.
Wait, sorry, what question are you talking about?
You got it right.
Oh, he's here.
Hey.
Hey, Max. Hey, Jacques. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well, man. Yeah.
Good to have you on.
Good to have.
I can't see anything. I can't see Fred or hear Fred right now.
Really, Max?
Oh, tap to unmute. I tapped to unmute. Hello, Fred?
I'm okay. I'm here. Can you see me?
I can't see you, but I can hear you. How's it going, brother?
It's going good, man. How's it going, man? All good?
I'm very well. It's a shame that I can't see your lovely face, though, bro. What's going on?
You're not missing anything.
I think the rest of the audience are able to see Fred, so it's all good. So. Yeah, awesome. So Fred is actually in Lisbon as well. Are you currently in Lisbon, Fred?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So me and Fred are in the same physical city. However, we're not in the same physical space. But yeah, so Fred, give us a small introduction about who you are and what your project is about.
Okay. So yeah, I'm Fred. I'm one of the founders of pixEOS. That is an art gamification platform on the EOS blockchain. We've been developing a whole ecosystem of dApps and applications for artists, for collectors, and for gamers. So yeah, that's about it. We are, I think, the craziest project because we are also always creating and bringing new things to our ecosystem, and it's been awesome. Like we're having a blast. We're loving what we're doing and always building. So there's a lot on the picture.
Nice. I think the best way to understand Fred's project is to see it. So Fred, if you would show us your screen, you like
I'm gonna give some sneak peeks for the first time of some things that we just we're taking them out of the oven like very soon. So it would be good to let everyone see what we've been cooking, and that would be
cooking in the kitchen, bro.
Yeah, that would be our gallery, a sneak peek of our gallery, and a sneak peek of our game center that I just got my hands on it like super recently. So yeah.
Can you see the screen, Max, or is it?
I can't see the screen, but I can hear, so it's fine. It's okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So that would be our gallery is a mock-up. So we've been working in the back end, the APIs, and waiting for the goods to be live. So we're expecting the SDK actually, the SDK today, and our developers are in touch with them.
So I'm just gonna stop you for a little bit. For those who are maybe not completely familiar, what are we looking at, Fred? This is an art gallery?
Yeah, it's an art gallery of digital goods and digital rare art. So it's where our artists, we have an artist collective that we've been very happy and very lucky to work with from the beginning of the project, and more and more artists are joining. So this is an NFT. Like, I don't know if everyone is.
Yeah, that was just about that. You say rare art collection. So how are they rare? Isn't it just digital art? Can you just make copies? What's going on here?
No, you can't. Every artwork is backed by an NFT, a non-fungible token that assures that is a unique piece of digital art, and assured the provenance and assured like the authorship of each and every work that we'll publish. So it's an art gallery like one in the real world, but with digital rare arts.
Right. So if I buy one of these art pieces, my ownership of that art piece is guaranteed on the blockchain.
It's guaranteed on the blockchain with its all metadata about like the creation methods, the artist's biography, and everything that relates to that artwork. They can also be issued in editions. So it's also possible that the artist will create the limited editions of that artwork.
Very nice, very nice.
It's a massive deal. I'm so excited, man.
So yeah, I just want to say like pixEOS is a very special project. I don't see things like these happening on a blockchain too much. You know, the most popular thing on EOS back then is gambling. So when first pixEOS came out, it was like it kind of came out of nowhere and it just took EOS by storm, right? Like you guys raised a ton of money, you guys pumped out a bunch of projects. This art gallery is just one small piece of your entire master plan. Is that right?
Yeah, it's just a small piece because it involves then to the auction house, and we want to follow up pretty much what goes out there. So our idea of development is to develop things as good as they are done out of the blockchain world. We believe that we need to like try to compete with mainstream businesses because we need to create sustainable and long-term businesses in blockchain. So that is being our goal, and I think we're managing quite fast. Sometimes the community don't think so, but yeah, we're looking out. We're trying to implement stuff that will actually work in the blockchain and be also appealing for the mainstream public.
Right. You guys have been collaborating. Sorry, Max, go ahead.
That's all right. Go. No, I'll say it real quick. I saw your trailer, Fred, for all the new games you're going to be releasing, and I recently played the EOS Real pixEOS game in the slots thing. Like that's a massive development. You've managed to create like you're doing 15 games. Is it coming out soon?
Yeah, soon I would say this year. So it's not all of them that soon. Some of them they're really to come out in the upcoming days and upcoming weeks. But yeah, we got our hands in a bunch of projects that we would like to develop. We are onboarding games from other blockchains that they would like to come to EOS. We are reskinning games that were already like fully developed, but not very without any user adoption, without public, and they have like a super potential if they are in the right blockchain with the right community. So yeah, we've been working all these months on developing our own games, onboarding new games, and closing deals with developers and with teams that they already had something in their hands that wasn't actually not working very well. So yeah, we're in this process of putting all of this together and get it all into our game.
Will they be accessible all from the hub? So you got the pixEOS
They'll
hub.
be accessible all from the hub. Like the hub is the place where you find all our applications. So the more professional art applications and the game and more fun applications, they will be in the hub. Beautiful. So everything will be connected to the hub. But I can also show you. I don't know if you still see my screen. So
yes, we can still see your screen.
Yeah, this is our game center, or how it's starting to look like. So the hub will connect to the. I beg your pardon?
Is this accessible now?
This is not accessible now. It will be accessible very, very soon. The game center.
Okay. So you guys are getting a first look into the game center.
The very first look of the game center. I just showed it last night to our team and our ambassadors for the first time. So this is the first look of the game center. Obviously, it will graphically evolve, and you have a lot of arcade machines there to access the pixEOS games.
Right. We actually got some questions on the side. It's like, do you plan to integrate VR in your game center? I think it would look fantastic in VR.
Yeah, we have so many plans and so many things that we would like to do. Let's do them just step by step. Like this year is already super full for us. We got already our hands into a lot of stuff that was not planned in the first roadmap. And in the our old white paper that is not even a white paper anymore, because like everything and evolved and transformed to a completely different reality right now. So yeah, this year we want to focus in the art applications. So the gallery, the auction house, and the art house. That is the commission marketplace for freelance creating media and visual arts. And then to focus in games, to launch as many games as we can. Like we know that the blockchain is like really willing to have like different kinds of games. There is one style of game that we want to bet a lot in, that is the Endless Runners. Those like really simple app games that you download in your iPhone, you're playing for hours. So we want to really bring them to the blockchain and kind of tokenize them. They're not very easy. It's a difficult process for you to implement those games and to have a tokenization on them. So we've been working on that, and I think we are finding a good balance of off-chain and on-chain integration for those games. So we're launching them like really, really soon. I believe that this week you already be able to have a look at some of the games that are to come.
Very cool, very cool.
Because like the gaming, it's such an easy entry for mass adoption, because all you need is the tokenization of things within a game is quite like easy to understand already. So 100%, bro. It's mass adoption's coming, man.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. We're building stuff for people to actually use. So yeah.
Nice. Okay, we got a lot of questions, so we gotta open that up. So if you have a question to ask, you could either do the ask question, come in. I see a lot of people just dropping them in chat. So just drop them in chat as well if you got any questions for Fred, and we'll be taking them live. One of the first questions I saw was, are you selling any t-shirts? People seem to love your t-shirt.
No. This is my avatar, like from the beginning of the project. Yeah, we plan to have avatar t-shirts in the shop. That's another thing that we're preparing right now is our crypto shop. So we started with these integrations partnership with Threadless. So the traditional print-on-demand shop. For now it's fiat, but we are just preparing our own shop with EOS payments at first, and then next we hope to have pixEOS payments in a couple of months. And in there you can buy the artists' artworks, any kind of apparel, so t-shirts, hoodies, tennis shoes, skates, jewelry, watches. So we're planning to have everything, like bring the art of our artists, like featured artists that are publishing in the gallery. They'll be able also to submit their art for apparel from the My pixEOS shop. So yeah, I think that like we'll put some avatars in some.
Okay, well you got to drop some link in the chat after, because everyone's like, I want a t-shirt, I want a t-shirt, I want a t-shirt. So You better link them to the T-shirt, or else that's
Yeah,
gonna be a riot.
pop would like the people that would like to know more. They can pop into our Telegram channel, and I will
Yeah,
be
Chris from Effect.AI wants a your avatar T-shirt. He wants a Fred face avatar
Okay,
as well.
that
So
I will send to you right away. I'll give him the like personally very soon.
nice, nice,
Like, we're
nice.
not far away, so me and
Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
are
Chris is
neighbors.
just in Amsterdam, so
Yeah, in Amsterdam, we're neighbors. So in Amsterdam, it's always a nice and fun place to visit. So anytime.
yeah. Well, actually, yeah, we are in Lisbon. Max is actually in London, UK, and it's
Yeah.
not that far. It was always just a few hours away. So
Well,
nice to have a
we're all
little
the same.
gathering.
We're all the same UTC time, which makes life so much easier because, like the crypto world, everyone's a different time zone.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's crazy.
So we got a few more questions. Mariana asks, do you have to pay something in order to start playing? I'm assuming she's referring to the games.
To the games, yeah, we'll have different kinds of games in different economies. So obviously, right now, if you paint in the collective canvas, you pay in EOS, you mean that you can actually stake later for rewards. And the other games, like each game will have a different. We'll have free to play, free to earn, and then you can buy boosters in the game. So some games they are like free to access, and you start to play them, and then you need obviously in the beginning you can play. But later on, you need an EOS account to withdraw your credits, your pixEOS credits. Some of them you need to pay to play. Like we'll soon publish the slot machine with pixEOS tokens in our game center, and then you need to pay to play, or you need to pay EOS to play, right?
Right.
Everything's tokenized both in a way that you can access freely to play, you mint tokens, and then you can use your tokens to buy boosters and upgrades in the game, or you can pay to play, playing the canvas or playing the slot machine. We'll have different. We have like multiplayer strategy games to come. We have a lot of different games that will come, and obviously all of them will be tokenized. In the future, we want to look at the NFTs too. We know that games with NFTs they're a little bit more complex, and we're working like our game designing team is working on having a lot of exciting stuff in the upcoming months.
Cool, cool, cool. So a
I'm gonna
mix
be
of
playing all these
free to
games.
play. Sorry,
Yeah, but
Max.
you'll have free to play and free to earn, because actually you'll be as you perform in the game, you'll be minting pixEOS tokens, and then if you want a booster, if you want to upgrade something in the game, you use your tokens.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna be playing all these games on my channel, bro. The
Yeah.
NFT life. It's gonna be
I
play.
hope so, man.
Yeah, pay to play. So if I can just play games all day, I'm gonna
Yeah.
make a good living out of this, bro.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's it. It's to grow the ecosystem and to have like the token circulating in all the components. So that's our idea, to have like a small farm within EOS with a token that is potentially usable, that you can actually use in many forms. So not to have only one use or one function for the token. We've been working and working, having as many functions for the pixEOS tokens that we can create.
And the dividend, not the dividends, the stake rewards are really good at the moment.
They're really good. Yeah. We plan them like this. Like we have carefully looked into it to make it like actually appealing for people to keep on staking. Like we're listing very soon. We have a lot of components to come. So if we all cooperate and to make pixEOS a stable ecosystem and to respect the token and the future of the token, that would be awesome. That's why we decided to have good staking rewards for 6 months, so we could discover everything, discover the price, discover the ecosystem, see how EOS performs in the second semester after all the news. So yeah, we're trying to get some time to figure out what will be and what the future will be for the whole ecosystem.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
I just auto stake mine.
Yeah.
It's like a compounding my pixEOS. I'm loving it.
Yeah. Keep on compounding.
So we got another small question from Sam. How do you think about attracting artists who do not know about blockchain?
How do you think to attract other people? I think this is a common effort. I've seen you talking about partnerships before. If we don't unite, no one will manage to bring people mainstream adoption to people, right? So this is being our strategy from the beginning. We are partnering with everyone that is willing to partner with us and working together to bring more people, to put the communities together. So if I partner with EOSReal, it's exposing their product to my community. I'm exposing my project to my community. We're growing together. There's always someone that didn't listen about this project or the other project. So this is our idea. First is partnering up with as many project active and cooperative projects that we can, and then creating products that will be appealing for the public. So we have we want our games. We are already thinking about onboarding for the games and the best way to have them in the app stores without friction. So we'll create. We already it's a secret right now, but we found the formula on onboarding people without having the hassle of the whole blockchain onboarding system that for many is frightening right now, or too complicated or too complex. So we already have a solution for that. We'll implement it soon, not in the opening of the game center, but very soon we'll be able to have our applications in the mainstream stores. They can start playing for free. So this is one of the strategies. They start playing, they get credits, and when they accumulate enough credits, we can help them out to cash out from the game, right? And to turn their credits into money, into tokens that actually have a value. So our idea is to get them addicted and to get them playing the game without knowing exactly what they're doing and not understanding fully what they're doing, and then educate the people that they're actually playing, they're actually getting tokens, that they have a value in the ecosystem. They have other functions. They can buy apparel with it. They can buy a digital rare art with it. They can collaborate in the collective canvas. So there are many things that they can do in the ecosystem of token. So this is one of the.
Go on, Fred. Go on.
No, and then it's creating more mainstream adoptions and linking our applications to real world business situations, right? So we have the plan with the gallery in the future to connect the NFT with physical artworks. So the NFT will be a proof of authorship and provenance for physical artworks, and eventually we'll have a way where the artworks are certified, or with a seal, or with a tag. Or we're studying many different business models and products that are also out there, and trying to team up and partner up with companies that are already doing this without the tokenization side of it. So we would be tokenizing their already existing certification process. And I think this is one of the cases that is really important for our system, because from the moment that you can have a certificate for artwork, not in a paper, not registered in a centralized computer, but in the blockchain as a non-fungible token, then you can actually prove and always prove, and it's more immortalized, immutable. You cannot change it, right? Everything that is out there is changeable. Maybe biased. The art world is really biased. You can buy certifications. You can pay people to verify and tell that your artwork is real. And we had many cases in the mainstream auction houses like Christie's, where people, they bought something that was not actually original, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I also had a quick question from my YouTube. I'll just quickly ask you it. It's going back a little bit, but someone said, do the state pixEOS users benefit from the games?
They will. Yeah. Our idea when the whole platform is implemented is that everyone, we have this profit sharing mentality. So everything will revert to the state. So the more the pixEOS ecosystem grows, and the more users we have, and the more revenue the company has, the more the stakers will get, both the pixEOS, EOS, Karma, every PDA tokens, whichever token we are accepting in the ecosystem, it will revert long term to the stakers. Obviously, the volume is not great right now, because we're just starting. We have more than 20 components to launch and deploy. But when we have everything out, that's the idea, that everything will revert to the stakers. And right now, it's already reverted to the stakers according to the volume of the platform.
Very nice, right? So we just have 5 minutes left. So let people know what your project is up to. What's the next steps? What's the big announcements?
Yeah, we're finally listing our token by the 8th of May. So it's a couple of days to go to finally have this big discovery that everyone is looking to. We're launching more games and the gallery during the month of May, a bit dependent of the goods standard. So when everything will be ready with the goods, we'll be launching already the gallery with artworks for everyone to go there, admire, purchase, acquire them if they like, and continue to build, continue to close partnerships, continue to find new opportunities within and out of the ecosystem. So that's the idea. pixEOS is like permanently scaling and permanently evolving. So it's what we want to continue, is to have a highly evolving ecosystem within the EOS ecosystem with a lot of fun. We want fun stuff for people to interact. So we want to be serious about art, and we want to be fun in games all around.
So listening on the 8th, and I saw at the end of the video, you guys gonna update the paint game. So what's the deal with that? Can you disclose any details, or is this still under wraps?
Yeah, I would say that we're up like hours or a day away from that. So I still need to get some updates from the devs, but we'll very soon have the collaborative canvas in pixEOS, so you can paint with pixEOS tokens. And I hope everyone will just jump in and mess around the canvas.
Nice. I'm really looking forward, because like pixEOS Paint, it was this huge game. Like everyone was talking about it. Like you cannot escape it.
No.
Yeah, like everyone on EOS was playing it. So it's interesting to see like what you're gonna do with it, because it was such a
yeah, this is to be an ongoing project. So the canvas, we didn't conceive the canvas to be short living canvas like we had before in other applications. We want it to be a long-lasting, ongoing collaboration. And there are other plans, like we rendered already the canvas in 3D. I don't know if you had a chance to see it. So there is a very strong gamification layer into the rendered canvas. There's a lot that we can still do with it, and then the upcoming canvas will keep on coming. So we'll have one in pixEOS. We have the private the personal canvas that is also planned, where people, they can actually paint for free and save their artworks in their computer, so they don't need to have any sort of tokenization in it. So there are many plans for the paint canvas. We just couldn't concentrate all our efforts in the canvas, because pixEOS is not only the collaborative canvas. So we decided internally that we should launch more stuff and work more stuff than to dedicate a lot of development into the paint canvas. And there's a lot of technical issues also involved with it, with the memory nodes, and everything that we know in blockchain, that we need like third parties like EOSIO to help us out, external APIs. So it's pretty complex to scale it. And our idea is to scale it. So it's to have the possibility to gamify the 3D canvas, to do much more stuff in the canvas itself, like events, competitions, to make it much more interactive. But it's a very complex economy, a very complex application. People, they think like, I'm just painting with pixels, right? But I'm not just painting with pixels. It's a 1 million pixel canvas that is completely tokenized, with a whole economy structure behind it, and everything that you touch on it affects everything. So every step that we take with the paint canvas needs to be very careful and done in time. So there are very exciting things to come also for the canvas.
Do we have time for one more question? Have we got time for one more question?
I think that's about it. So
okay, no worries.
All right, thank you, Fred, so much for coming on, for spending some time with us.
Thank you for having me.
Make sure you drop all the links to your stuff, so if people buy your t-shirts, find the games.
I'll drop all the links.
Okay.
Like people, they just need to Google pixEOS. Like we're everywhere.
It's not too
number one on the search list.
to find us. And in Telegram, just pixEOS. Look for pixEOS. Join our Telegram group.
Yeah, go scoop out their memes and the crazy, colorful gifs that they got going on there.
It's a shame I couldn't see your face, Fred, for this, but I can hear your lovely voice. That's all I needed.
Yeah, we can make another call after the Dappathon.
Yeah, we'll make sure we do this later, bro. We'll have a little
Okay, it was a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on, Fred.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Okay.
I
Whoa.
have another question, but I'll ask him later. It was about Chintai and pixEOS partnership. I go because I get on my YouTube. I'm getting loads of questions as well, so
Mhm.
I'll keep looking over at that.
Oh, really? Really? Okay.
Yeah, we've got about 10 viewers on the YouTube as well. So
Nice,
if you want
nice.
to have a look at that, max that people. Plug that.
Well, we got so many questions. Jeez.
I'm just trying to work out where it says ask a question. That's the question tab, right? So if I click on
Yeah,
that,
that's the ask question tab.
so it says 9 votes. Which are the best EOS dApps for singers and musicians? Right? Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So even though it's not related, but obviously, I think the only one right now is just Emanate.
Yeah, Emanate's a great
Yeah.
platform. Love that.
Yeah.
Look at all these people. Gracias. I love it.
Yeah. Okay, so we were supposed to have Ben on, but Ben haven't responded to my messages. I have tried to reach him on the Sense chat itself. I thought that might have given me a better chance, but
That makes sense.
no luck. Yeah, no luck so far. So instead, we're gonna have Chris on next. I'm gonna go off the screen a little bit, do a little bit of organizational work, making sure the whole thing runs smoothly. So Max is gonna take over from here. I'm just gonna invite on Chris.
I'll take over with Chris, man. We've done this many times already. I on my notes I wrote no need to ask any. There's no need for me to write down the questions because I know exactly what I'm going to ask him.
Nice. Okay, so just invited Chris. Chris is
I'll have a look
connecting.
over my screen as well. Just make sure that thing's working properly on that.
Yeah, just make sure you can see him and see his screens and stuff.
Hopefully this works now. Because why is it doing that? Also manage.
Bang! I'm here.
Hey.
What's up, Chris? I can see you this time. Now I can see you. It's so good that you're here.
What's happening, Max?
Oh, I'm great, bro.
Oh,
how are you?
man.
How's it all been?
Yeah, good, man. It feels like you're my roommate or something. I talk with you more than I talk with my wife right now. So yeah, it's all good, man.
Dude, they say like mobile phones, right? They are the most personal thing in your life. Personal than anyone else. Like my mom, my dad, my friends. You're 24/7 contact right now, bro.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. Cool.
Well, I'm gonna take over, yeah. So yeah, thanks for that, and we'll crack on. So it's good to have you on the show. Just quickly I'll do a little intro for you, buddy. So Chris Dawe, CEO of Effect.AI. If you don't know him, he's used to be on the Neo blockchain Effect.AI. They've just moved over to EOS. And they got a lot of cool stuff happening. And it's just you just did your token swap. So do you want to just quickly say to anyone how that went?
Yeah, holy smokes. The last like 4 or 5 weeks have been absolutely crazy. First of all, we decided to migrate all of our future technology, the build over to EOS. Since the announcement, it's been absolutely ridiculously amazing. Everybody reaching out from all of the block producers to all of the projects to all of the personalities behind the scenes. Everybody, it's been absolutely phenomenal and crazy and amazing. And we've gotten a lot of support with building some of the things that we built because they were highly complex and our team is well capable of doing these things. But we actually got some support and some help from the LiquidApps team. Those guys helped out with just going through all of the code of everything that we built. So we had to build a few different things. So first of all, we built the token contract, which we added a new contract, our DAC governance token called NFX. So we had that contract. We had the swap contract. So this was a first of its kind on EOS, a fully decentralized token swap protocol. So there was no middleman. We did not take any of the tokens. They were verified from the Neo blockchain to the EOS blockchain. So it was important for us to have some extra eyeballs on that. EOS Canada and a few other teams helped us out just by looking at it and letting us know that it was okay. So yeah, and we started the token migration, let's see, last Tuesday is when it opened up at 11 a.m. We had a slight little delay of about 5 minutes, but we got stuff in order. Yeah, thanks. It was crazy. It's more successful than we could have ever imagined. Our Telegram went from, you know, a couple hundred messages a day to over 3,000 or 4,000 in the last few days. So we had some internal bets trying to figure out how many people and how many tokens were going to be migrated. So we had a circulating supply of 200 million, roughly 200 million. And we were thinking the definition of success here is if we get 30 to 40 million people to swap over. You know, there's a lot of people hodling coins and a lot of people, you know, just watching and waiting to see how things go down. But since we launched on Tuesday, it's 130 million tokens have been migrated. And we opened up
like 75%.
Dude, but get this. You want to hear a crazy number? So we introduced our governance token, NFX. So we also made a third smart contract, a staking mechanism, which is also one of a kind in the whole industry, I think, which is we include what we call stake age. So the amount of time your tokens are staked gives you a multiplier. And we gave a bonus away for anybody that staked in the first 72 hours of the swap. We gave them 50 days stake age bonus. So that gives you quite a good multiplier on your stake. Yeah. So we also had an internal discussion of what is the definition of success on staking. And we said, listen, you know, some of the biggest things, if 30% were to hit, that's pretty huge, you know. So we were thinking maybe 20%, 15%. Right now, we're at 73% of all circulating supply is staked in the Effect stake pool. So it's blowing us away, man.
It's validating people's belief in the project. That's what I see. Anyway.
That's exactly what it is. So you have your community, right? And you have the vocal community group, which consists of maybe 100 people, you know, and you know that they're supporting and they're behind you. But then what about all of the other people that are sitting there and they're just watching? You don't know. We're not too sure. We feel the sentiment of our project is fairly high, but we had not even the slightest clue. We even have our advisor, Charlie Shrem. Some people might know him from the Netflix documentary Banking on Bitcoin. So he had his tokens and he immediately staked them. He's been going crazy. You can claim your NFX. You don't have to claim it. You can claim it once a month, once a year, or whenever. But he's claiming just to make sure he's at the top of the holders of NFX tokens. So people are having fun. Yeah. He's asking me, who are these other people that are beating me? You know. But yeah, the token swap has gone absolutely phenomenally. It's been great.
It's super good to hear that. And I think like the stake age is something which I think other projects are interested in adopting as well, because it's like a good way of it's for people who care about your project in the beginning. Yeah, you want to incentivize them and you want to reward them. So it's a really good mechanism. But just to go back like one step, because we've got like 200 people in this room. Majority of people probably know what it is, but like what's like Effect.AI trying to do? Like how's it trying to disrupt AI in the first place? Like what's the base definition of Effect.AI?
Yeah, for sure. All right. So the artificial intelligence industry is forecasted to be a $17 trillion industry in the next few years. It's going to touch every single aspect of every single part of everybody's life. And a lot of people don't even understand that they're using artificial intelligence every single day, all of the time. And that's why it's hard to define what artificial intelligence really is, because it's something that makes your life a little bit easier, like most technologies, without you really feeling or knowing what's going on. So if you've ever searched Netflix search, that's an algorithm. That you're using artificial intelligence. It knows what you like. It knows what you're doing. If you use any Google product, Google Maps, Google search, anything, you're a good
example. Their algorithm is like unbelievable. It's so
like it's crazy and it's complex and it's probably got a mind of its own at this point, you know, because YouTube's been working on it for so long. So it's already hit us all over the place and it's all around us and only getting bigger. But for the team at Effect.AI, we were AI developers. We were building things in the artificial intelligence industry. And we found a lot of problems with transparency, inclusion, and the fact that only a select few large corporates have, 99% of the power when it comes to the development of artificial intelligence. We saw the prices of developing AI exponentially go up, and the exclusion of just regular people. So we decided to step in and build this project called Effect.AI. So Effect.AI is a open democratic and decentralized network for artificial intelligence development. So we build tools to help everybody be able to build, monetize, and then power their AI solutions. So in our first phase, and the most important, and I'll just concentrate on the first phase and maybe trickle into the second phase a little bit. But the first phase, so the first part of building an algorithm is first getting your hands on high quality training data. So you would have a model, and that model you need to feed it as much data as possible. And that data can't just be anything. It needs to be very high structured, labeled, annotated data so your model can start getting better. And these data sets that you would use to train a model are primarily, almost I would say 95%, based on human input first. So people would look at a data set and then they would tag and they would label it. So let's just say images. You're putting all kinds of different labels on that. Or let's even say YouTube, how their algorithm starts. It's looking at sentiment of the people that are looking at it. It's looking at the demographics. It's looking at all of these things. And these things are originally labeled by a human workforce. And this is going to be still for years to come. I would say at least 10, 12 years before AI is smart enough to start doing these jobs themselves. But AI is not smart enough to do a lot
machine
of
learning, right? Like it teaches itself.
Yeah, machine learning. Yeah, that's where you would be inputting your data, and the algorithm would know what to do with it, and it would get better over time. So it starts with structured data, and that's what all companies are looking at right now. I'm talking about every single company you've ever heard of is sitting on data, and they're trying to figure out what to do with it. Effect Force, which is our first dapp, is a global workforce on demand. And currently has over 2,000 global workers from 90 different countries that can do these annotations and microtasks very, very quickly for these large corporates. So traditionally right now, a company, let's say any company, would have a data scientist and a couple of people that are structuring out this data. But usually data sets are massive, and it would take months for these 3 or 5 people to be able to structure it. So our platform is basically being able to structure your data at scale, using a workforce as many people as you possibly could want. And that's basically what it is. And where blockchain comes into this, it's so incredibly powerful. The very first part of Effect Force is the decentralized payment mechanism, a token, a utility token. So a company would come to us, they would buy what we call GEFX, so Galaxy Pool tokens. So these are just credits that are on the system. And then we're able to pay out with our cryptocurrency to the workforce immediately for the work that they're doing. So it's an incredibly powerful thing that's gotten the attention of the United Nations and different governments all over the world. So
I'm going to move on to that in a second, yeah, because yeah, carry on.
So it's really powerful. Right now, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, just the structuring of data, and Effect Force is coming in to be we're not here to take part. We're legitimately here to take over that whole entire ecosystem. We have a few competitors in the centralized world, Amazon being one of them with their platform called Amazon Mechanical Turk, but decentralized microtasking, I think is one of the most powerful things right now, and we're the leaders. We're the leaders of it right now. So we're going to expand. We're going to grow.
It's like, how can a centralized business like Amazon, what do you call it? Amazon Algro Turk.
Mechanical Turk, yeah.
Whatever that is, right? That, like, how can that eventually actually compete with a decentralized version of it? Like, there is a centralized aspect you need, but if you have like millions of people all working on the same thing in a decentralized fashion, and like you said, that's where the blockchain comes in. The blockchain revolutionizes it, it allows it to be possible to do that now, and so that you don't have to have a central hub. But I've got a question for you here from one of the guys in the audience. It's from Dragons with a Z, and he said, "So who are the partners? So Effect.AI, who are your new partnerships? I know one of them, the UN, is a very big partnership, but like, do you want to just go through a couple of your new partnerships you've got?"
Yeah, super. So we're partnered with Civic, which is an Ethereum project headed by Vinny Liggum of the Dragon's Den. So we're partnered with those guys trying to work on.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're trying to work out digital identities and really try to validate digital identities and qualifications that people may have. This is very important for our workforce because we want to be able to verify and validate if a person has a certain credential. So we have a client, let's say it's a dental client, they have a whole bunch of x-rays of teeth, and we need specific people to be able to annotate that data. We want to be able to, instead of put them through rigorous tests, we want to just be able to see that their digital identity says that they're qualified to do this type of work. So we have that. We have several business clients that maybe a lot of people wouldn't know, but these are just a whole slew of companies that we're working with right now to structure and annotate and do kinds of data. But we call it a partnership with these guys because we work very, very closely with them right now because we're in the infancy of structuring data, and we help them explore what they can do with their data. One of our clients, which is pretty humongous, is the government of Singapore. So the government of Singapore, they're structuring and analyzing and annotating satellite imagery of their country. And what they're basically doing is building a Google Maps. And of course, right when this came on, our CTO, Jesse, extremely excited. He goes, wow, this makes sense. I go, why the hell does this make sense? There's Google Maps. Why would you build Google Maps? Well, Google Maps owns all of that data, and Singapore owns none of it. And so to tap into their APIs into Google Maps and use the platform, it's limited. They can't get access to all of the information that they want. And it's all owned by Google. So the governments of the world are understanding this really quickly, that Google has a leg up on us. And
it's got like a hold on it, yeah.
Yeah, they got a super hold, but this can be done very fast. So we have annotated hundreds of thousands of images, satellite images for Singapore, and we're building it out. So our workforce on our platform, we have a whole bunch of annotation tools. So we have a polygon tool where you'll draw around a building, then you will mark that building, then you will look up the times and dates that business is open and the addresses and everything. So we're building a Google Maps for Singapore right now. So that's another partnership. We are recently partnered with Karma, Dallas Russian in the Karma project. So that's a big one and a use case that's really, really cool. So this is another thing. You need to have content moderation. This is something that a workforce can do very easily. Is this image good? Is it not good? Why is it not good? Why is it good? That kind of information is the information that you have to feed into an algorithm for it to be able to learn and understand that stuff. So yeah, we're really looking forward to the partnership with Karma.
Well, shout out to Karma as well, because Dallas has just released the Karma 2.0 update, and you can download it on the Google Play Store. Just plug it in right now, and it'll be out on the Apple Store as well. And they got a great project over there.
A badass project and an absolutely stellar human being behind it. So yeah, check out Karma if you don't know it. Absolutely amazing. So
I got another. Well, carry on. I got another question.
I'm gonna
add.
I'm going to hint. There's some stuff coming up partnership wise that the whole world is going to hear about. So, but that's as much.
Dude, come on, you got to spill the beans now. You can't do that to us.
There's not
people in here.
I'm under the strictest NDA I've ever signed in my life, so there's no way I'm going to give any more than just that. I think I'm already going to get sued just for saying that.
Dude, don't get sued. We want to keep you in. That will be gone. But just to talk about the Singapore thing, I went to Singapore and they are. Well, I've been there before, but like they are so ahead of the game. Like you can just you can pay for most of your taxis, your goods, and your services with
WeChat.
QR code with your Singapore wallet. So they're ahead of the curve. Like because obviously they're all it's a tax haven. It's rich people. They got time on their hands to do it. So if you can start there, that's a really good place to like build out that kind of idea of having your own API. You don't have to log into Google's APIs and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. I'm excited about that, but. I've got a question for you from someone here. I don't really know if this is to do with, I'm not 100% this is, I'll just ask it, see if it makes sense. So will you guys create opt-in data markets for projects asking for a friend? Is that for you?
Say it back, hold on. I think I have the question as well. Opt-in.
Opt-in data markets? Maybe that's for a different project. Maybe that was for...
No, listen, I think I understand where that's going. This is a big subject, like opting in with your data, especially for like healthcare and stuff like this. We won't build those gateways. We might partner with people that are building gateways like that, so that data can streamline right into our platform and can be annotated, structured, and validated quickly. But yeah, our tech team and our CTO has a background and a master's degree in artificial intelligence. The guy's got an IQ the same as Einstein. One of the smartest kids in the world. So he
told me he likes to just build algorithms for fun in his spare time. So
he likes to do all kinds of dorky things for fun on his spare time. But a magical dude. So there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline. He's been writing a lot of updates for the white paper, and yeah, the direction of AI and data, the way that it's going. Yeah, you guys will find out pretty soon some of the big players in this space, and it's going to be very surprising to a lot of people. But they're very relative to the crypto space.
Well, I don't know how much more time we've got. I think we've got a few more minutes, but like just elaborating on like AI is just like, for me, it's so difficult to know where to start with AI. Like you said, it's in everything we use, like whether it's, you know, using your phone to like to know what you're going to type in, like it does it for you, or it's like Google Maps, or it's anything like, and then there's the whole Internet of Things coming up, which is going to be like your microwave is going to be mining Bitcoin or whatever. So like you're obviously tackling an industry which is probably bigger than anyone can really conceive. So I just say good luck to you. Is there anything else you want to add? Like, what else do you want to talk about?
Yeah, the AI industry is absolutely, it's crazy to think about. It's not as smart or as advanced as people actually think, or at least I believe from just being in the industry. It's still in the experimental stage where we're figuring out all the things we can do. So we really look forward to having people build with our platform. So just to go back into the second phase of our project is a marketplace for AI algorithms and related services. So this will allow you to start downloading all kinds of different AI apps and adding things to your apps, adding things to your phone, adding things to your Internet of Things, adding all of these different algorithms where you won't have to just go to Google, or it won't be, you know, something that's already automatically within your phone. You can actually start customizing and getting other things. So I
got a question here. It says Effect.AI versus IOTA. Like, are you going?
We'll smash them. We'll smash them to bits. No problem. Easy. No, listen, the IOTA guys are great guys. I've met with all of them. Yeah, they're great guys. They have a good project. We've looked at the Tangle. That's part of their technology. That things. I don't think it's fully validated or whatever, but I'll tell you what. I've met with most of those guys, and they're the smartest guys in the room. So not as smart as our Jesse, but they're pretty smart dudes. So yeah, I'm sure they have a great future. Can't hear you, Max. Is that on my side or on your side?
It's very strange. Huh. Max has got no audio. Well, I mean, I guess it cut out at the perfect time. Looks like you guys are just wrapping up. Maybe, Max, you want to like rejoin? Both audio went out.
Oh, both audio.
I can hear Chris.
Oh, is mine out as well?
No, I can hear Chris. Leave and come back, Max. Yeah, you probably want to do that. Yeah, I think Matt's in the chat. Matt's telling we need to.
Can people hear me or no? Oh, that might be a no. Oh, they're able to hear me. So I'm gonna answer one question before I get kicked off here. I'm just gonna keep on going until they cut my screen. So the technical difference is, what is the growth strategy to get Effect.AI growing? Listen, we did a token sale, we raised some money, and then people think that we're going to take over the world in like 365 days. But the thing is, I think we've produced a lot more than most companies and startups could do in that amount of time, and I'm pretty proud of where we're at, but I understand that people are eager to continue to see where we go and what we're doing. We just finished a token migration. The best is yet to come. Huge players in this industry are interested in Effect.AI, and you guys will see some of those fruits being bared very shortly. So our goal is to get a microtasking marketplace of tens of thousands of people to structure data. So having tens of thousands of people using our platform, and thousands of clients as well. And then from there, you guys will understand how we're going to work into the actual marketplace of AI algorithms and related services. But we have a few friends that are working very hard. Effect.AI have API for games. Yes, we have an API. You'll be able to do all kinds of stuff: surveys, games, marketplaces. We want to make it an inclusive kind of ecosystem, especially because we have workers in Africa, we have workers in Georgia, we have workers from 90 different countries, and it's a difficult thing to cash out cryptocurrency. So we want to create some kind of marketplaces and stuff. So there's lots of stuff coming up with a new roadmap that we'll be releasing soon.
Very cool, very cool. So I'm not sure we touched on that. You guys are actually opening up physical locations as well?
Yeah, so listen, we caught the eyes of the United Nations in the country of Georgia. I had some meetings there with the government, and the government immediately said, we're doing big things with the United Nations, so go over and check those guys out. So for the last few months, I've been flying back and forth to Georgia, and we came up with this idea several months before this to actually create physical locations where people can work in a safe environment, but also clients of Effect Force can also know the workers, know their timings, you know, sign NDAs or whatever they need to do, and just know their people, because a lot of these old traditional companies need to actually know the people that are working on this type of stuff. So it's all worked out absolutely amazingly. We did a pilot project for them in a small, very poor city just outside the capital of Tbilisi. It's called Rustavi. We made national news, I think international news on some levels. That's gone very successful, and I'll update everybody on a very big update shortly. Well, within the next few weeks, we'll have something really, really huge to release in that category. But we've been working very closely, and the United Nations obviously gives us a gateway to a global presence and be able to open up these physical locations all over the world very quickly.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Not only are you working on a great project, you're doing it for a great cause. So I can't, yeah, it's just fantastic. Yeah. Okay, so last 2 minutes, let us know what's going on with your project. What do you have? How do we find you? Drop some links, drop some hints. What's going on?
Yeah, cool, man. So I'm very active in our Telegram community. So you can join us on Telegram, which is something Effect.AI. Yeah, we across all of our socials. So we have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have all those regular ones. Yeah, that's basically where you can find us. We are going to be opening up registrations for Effect Force, so everybody can join and start doing some tasks to really understand how the platform works and what it's about. Use some of the tools that our development team have built within the platform. So we'll open that up pretty soon to absolutely everybody. Looking for select, workforces within that. So we'll have validation and qualifying tasks on there for everybody to take part in. And then with those tasks, we can actually find the right workforce for our clients. So those are the places. Telegram's obviously the best for us. I talked to Luke Strokes the other day from EOS DAC. We're going to be really working on creating a decentralized autonomous community to really get people involved. So there's lots of stuff going on. We'll have a new roadmap pretty soon. So yes, stay tuned for that.
Okay, cool. All right, see you. Catch you later.
Yeah, see you, man. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for showing up. See you guys.
Nice. So yeah, for the next speaker, let's see schedule. Okay. So fun fact, Chris was actually my mentor in London Hackathon. It was thanks to him that I managed to place top 10. So yeah. Okay. This is a bit of a interesting situation. Let me just invite Zack Gall.
Heyo. Wow,
hey, what's up, Zack?
But you can see me. What's up?
Good. How's it going?
It's good. It's good. I am disappointed in Ben Sigman today.
Ben is
Man.
actually just got back to me.
Oh,
He said,
he's sorry.
yeah.
We love Sense Project, man. It's one of my. It needs a few more iterations, but you could see it there. Like once you can change your profile image and do a few more things that I know they're working on because I've asked. It's super cool. Love Sense.
Right. So Ben, I'm gonna see if we can squeeze him back in. Ben, if you're watching, we'll try to make this work. Don't worry. But right now we're gonna have Benny actually. Ben from LiquidApps. That's gonna be coming on. Also gonna have Max. Do you want to come on as well? Just drop a chat. So Benny. Let's see. Okay, invited Ben.
Man, what's up with this? Is everyone else seeing this too? Like I got all these red blotches on my forehead. Maybe have some problem. Is my mic volume okay? This mic I use is always a little quiet.
No, sounds fine to me.
Good. Okay.
You got all the professional equipment.
Oh, I got the professional belt, the meme champ.
Hey everyone.
Meme champ.
Yes, man. Can you hear me?
The champion of the memes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear Max. Max is good. Benny is there.
Hi, do you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Good,
now
good.
Can you guys hear each other?
I hear everyone.
Seems so. Everything is working.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I hear you, Max. Loud and clear.
I'm in. It's working for me, brother. How are you? How you doing, Benny? Are you good? You good?
Doing great.
So right, so
well, I think you're taking like most of the reins on this one, aren't you, Zach, for the interview?
Me? I'm interviewing my own company.
All right.
We're stacking the cards here.
I thought it was Switcheo next, or is it filling in with? Oh yeah, so we got Ben.
Yeah, Switcheo's gonna be next. So I'm gonna try to work something out with Ben to see if we can fit him back in.
Let's have a look at this.
Okay, I'll leave you guys to it. Full disclosure, I'm sure Zach's gonna tell you. Zach's part of the company. That's why we have Max on to kind of balance it out.
That's the only reason I actually approved this last minute. So thank you.
Okay, I'll leave you guys free to it.
Because anything ask, like,
I'll pop out on the screen.
I mean, I could handle it if you want to hang out, Max, and chime in. So I guess the first question, if someone's never heard of LiquidApps, how would you explain LiquidApps in your like 1 or 2 minute elevator pitch?
All right. So first of all, hi everyone. We've been around for quite some time in EOS, I would say. Liquid EOS was the first company that was brought to life about the time that the EOS was launched, 3 weeks before that. But we were stealth mode a long time before. And we got to understand a lot of the problems that EOS holds currently, specifically in the resource scarcity. And it got Tal Muscal, the CTO, for a lot of problems into discovering a solution, actually, while trying to find a way to create a free airdrops mechanism back at the time. And we built a sort of second layer solution for EOS. And it's a patent pending currently. The interesting thing about it is that it was really important for us to create a working solution from day one. And in February 26th, we released the code for this second layer solution. And right now it allows dapp developers to do a few things. First of them would be instead of using the EOS RAM, you can use what we call VRAM, which is essentially a way to create a cache layer out of the current RAM of EOS. I don't know how many of you know that, but RAM today costs around $250,000 per gigabyte. And that's, yeah, I see the eyebrows there. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And unless you have like either VC fund behind you, or you have a lot of RAM from the early days, it's really hard for that developer to actually build on top of EOS. And using VRAM today, you can do the same with a lot less. I know that airdrop DAC right now, instead of using airdrops that cost around $30,000 for the airdrop, right now it would cost staking of DApp tokens for the equivalent of $1,000.
Whoa. It's like 3,000, well, 3,000% less.
And that's only for the airdrops. And you don't actually pay that, you stake it. Just like in EOS and the BPs. So essentially, airdrop DAC in that sense are what we call a DSP, a dapp service provider, which is kind of like a parallel thing for the BPs, where BPs are giving blocks, essentially. They're producing blocks. The DSPs can provide different services. So VRAM was the first implementation. A week and a half ago, we actually released something else, which are oracles and randomness generator. And Zach, do you want to give your
so we've talked about this a lot on Everything EOS. So the Oracle services, I think, are one of the most exciting things because you get a deterministic view of anything that is retrievable on the internet. So the possibilities are really, really endless with that. Like, it's such a broad thing that so many different projects needed that we're really happy to finally release that service. And then the Cron service as well, which is basically a scheduled task of any kind of task. So whenever you're writing a smart contract currently, we have what's called a deferred transaction. But within the contract itself, there's a lot of things that could happen that could mess up that deferred transaction. It's not a perfect system for all things. It serves some purposes really well, but others not so well. So like the example I gave last week on Everything EOS was for a prediction market. So a prediction market like Predict, for example, if they wanted to retrieve the results for the 2020 presidential election, they could open up that prediction market today and then use the Cron service to not pull the answer to, they could basically use the web oracles to call multiple different APIs from every news source. That way it's as trusted as it's going to get. They could stake to multiple DSPs so that no one DSP is giving them the results, nor one API is giving them results. And then they use the Cron service to set a date for that prediction market to be finalized, for the answer to the question to be answered. And that would be done on a specific date at a specific time. And that would be done using the Cron services. So that's just like one example, but the possibilities are really endless. You could and
I watched Everything EOS. I watched your show, man, and like I was like, it's literally blowing my mind. Like, carry on, dude. Awesome.
You didn't even mention the inter-blockchain communication using the oracles.
I was about to, but 1 second before that, I just realized, for those of you who do not know this project yet, when I speak about this with people, they actually try to compartmentalize it into a few things. It's either a sidechain or a centralized solution. So it's neither. Okay, it's a decentralized, trustless solution. And it's really hard for people to grasp because it's a new thing. It's never been done before. Because
you don't see it on any other chains. Like, I think EOS Weekly did a really good video, just like putting it into like a visual, like what the space looks like. And Tron doesn't have it. Ethereum obviously doesn't have it. Others at scale. So LiquidApps is kind of like this weird middle ground where it's like, what is it? Yeah, I'm seeing where you're coming from here.
Exactly. And actually, one more thing I'm hearing, especially this last week since we launched Rex, and congratulations to us all. It's actually complementary to Rex. It's not instead. since, you know, I've explained it to one of my friends. I live in Tel Aviv, and it's really expensive to buy a house in Tel Aviv, and actually to rent a house in Tel Aviv as well. But I see EOS as buy apartments only, like apartments being RAM. You need to buy RAM. And Rex actually introduced a way for us to rent it, kind of like Chintai for CPU. But the limitation with the amount of apartments is still there, okay? We still have only 90 gigs of RAM, approximately. And until the end of 2019, it's going to be 128 gigabytes of RAM. How do you build the Facebook on top of 128 gigs of RAM? Okay, so
yeah.
Rex is amazing, and I'm so happy it exists, but it does not replace the need for infinite RAM. And that's where we come in.
That's where you come to the rescue. You're like the superhero, bro. The LiquidApps superhero of blockchain.
Actually, that's the DSPs. You know, we actually bring the code, we open source it, and the DSPs, you see them, and it's amazing, and it's so exciting to see these entities all around the world gathering around, building the DSP from scratch, and you know, struggle through the process. It's not an easy task. It's actually a bit easier than a BP, people tell me, but it's amazing, and we keep on pushing for this to be more known, because we believe it is the future.
I think, and I've been pretty open about this in the public LiquidApps channels, one of the things that has been lacking for I guess, awareness to be raised has been a DSP portal, a portal of services that presents the amount of dapp tokens needed for specific services, and then a comparison of all of the other people providing those services. So up until now, the only way you'd be able to see that would be by knowing where to look in the contract tables of a block explorer like Blocks.io. But very recently, we did an AMA in the LiquidApps channel, and Benny announced a very big opportunity. Why don't you explain the bounty, because I don't know the numbers off the top of my head on this.
Yeah, so we just announced a grant, as Zach said, and it's kind of like a DSP portal build challenge. It's essentially building a UI for staking, unstaking for DSPs, seeing the different DSPs. Each DSP has the opportunity to actually build different service packages. So it's like in a cellular company, when you go ahead and you want to buy a cellular package, and they ask you how long are you going to stay here and how many gigabytes of internet you need, kind of the same. So you can like, I need it for 1 week, I need 1 gigabyte, and the DSP can choose how do they price themselves. So what will be the minimum amount of dapp needed in order for them to stake it? Yeah, I wouldn't hold it against you, Max. That's okay. Jack, it's like what was the boredom level? You know, Max left.
Well, I think the big,
I saw some food, and I was like, I got to go get this food. And I'm joking.
I think the big message I want to portray here is that if you're considering building a dapp and utilizing the dapp network, or you're considering becoming a DSP yourself, or you're already a DSP yourself, this is an opportunity to collect a bounty to get a head start into the network. And you don't have to be a DSP to participate in this bounty. You're basically just building a front end that uses the EOS blockchain as its database with the dapp services account contract, and all of the data is pulled to your front end. You don't really need a fancy database architecture. You just need a front end that could do some nice filtering, searches, comparisons, and it shouldn't be outside of most people's means. And who are all the judges, Benny, on this?
We actually didn't announce the judges yet, but I can say that they're pretty well high profile, and we do consider the community vote as a big part of it. It's really important, I think. And the grant itself is up to 1.5 million dapp tokens, which is not a small amount. It's divided by the 3 top rankings, and I hope the best one wins. You know, I'm really looking forward to see all of these projects coming together. And everybody can actually participate. I can send the Google form for I'll send the Medium post in this nice forum here.
If you guys have any questions as well, put your questions now, because LiquidApps are here, guys. Come
sure
on.
Thing.
I just
thank
you. Just what you guys are building is so big. Like, it's because, you know, at the moment, you know, with the mass adoption is like the main thing, and what you guys are building is what's going to bring mass adoption. And all of this back end stuff, it can kind of go unseen. Like if you're just someone who's a user, but under the workings of LiquidApps, it's just crazy. Like, amount of progress.
Whoa, someone's got some noise pollution here.
Is it me?
Is that me?
I don't know if it's a dog or someone.
Is it working?
No,
Yeah,
it's not. I think it's. I think I think one of the lesser known things about LiquidApps is the genius that is Tal Muscal, the CTO. And I can't emphasize that enough. I mean, I love Benny, but Tal is one of the big reasons I said yes to joining the LiquidApps team. So, like, I've been doing everything EOS for over a year now, and obviously I'm a big Dan Larimer fanboy. I look up to him. I think everything most of what he puts out and does is of genius. I agree with most of it. But Tal, I learned very quickly from meeting him at the San Francisco hackathon, and then Benny, myself, my friend Peter, and Tal, we had like a 3-hour call one time. And by the end of that call, I was like, oh my God, Tal is like, with Dan, I can't even say which one's above the other at this point, but it is 1A and 1B as far as two of the smartest people in the EOS ecosystem. And I just want to put that out there because he blows my mind every day, just like talking to him and learning from him. And the fact that yesterday was Star Wars Day with May the 4th, Tal is Yoda, basically. Tal is the Yoda of EOSIO. I don't know what you would call Dan, the king, but Tal is the Yoda.
Definitely.
And I just want to ask one question to Benny about LiquidApps, like about the DSPs. Sorry if you say that, but how many do you think there's going to be, like, overall? Do you think it's going to be like, do you think it's going to be more like there'll be like 3 or 4 big DSPs, or will it be like hundreds of thousands, like not hundreds of thousands, but will it be thousands of DSPs into the future? What do you see?
It's a really good question. It's a really good question. And I think it's not being asked enough, because the interesting about the DSP, there are infinite amount of services you can actually give in a way that the DSP is working. It can be resources as we do right now, but let's give you an example of something that I think will answer your question quite well. You have a media channel, and what if you would like to have a premium channel, like something in addition to your normal channel? You can create a DSP, and you can have people stake towards your media channel in order to get to the premium account. So it's not like you're not giving the normal material, but you do have some premium content, even something that actually people can see before the rest. Okay,
like a Patreon.
Like a Patreon.
Or
and
Patreon.
You can do that. You can do that. It's a V Patreon, and you can do that using a DSP. And it's only one solution. I'm actually speaking with teams that are going to be KYC DSPs. And I'm not going to give everything here because some of them will probably kill me. But there are multiple ways in order to utilize the DSP. So it's resources on one hand and everything you can imagine on the other hand. And when you get that, I'm assuming a lot of DSPs.
Yeah, because I was thinking if you have a small amount of DSPs, it could be like an issue, because it's like it becomes a little bit centralized, right? Because it's like then you have to go and get all of your calls from one DSP, but there might even be 3 or 4. But if there's hundreds and hundreds, it's going to be really interesting to see it play out. Like, because I'm not as technical enough to like see it. Like, you're the one who, like, if you, I don't know what it's going to be like, but it's going to be interesting to see.
It's true.
The way
it's
I picture it is everyone with a dapp could probably do themselves a service by looking into or considering being their own DSP. For example, we gave the Oracle example earlier, and you could ask as many different DSPs as you want for those API calls, but you could also be running your own DSP and compare those answers against yourself, because you know you're not lying to yourself. And as far as to your audience, it's not just asking yourself to your users. Your users see that you're just part of maybe 7, 10, 20, 1,000 different DSP Oracle services. So,
you know, EOS Weekly. EOS Weekly.
Okay, guys, sorry, I'm gonna have to interrupt. You gotta keep on the schedule. Great conversation. Please do drop some links so people will find them, Telegram groups, etc., etc. So yeah,
you guys are too interesting. Like, you're too good.
Thank you. And
I'm here all day.
We can continue this on a one-to-one, Max.
Yeah,
exactly,
sure.
Exactly.
I really want to talk. Yeah, cool.
Sure thing.
Okay, thank you very much, Benny, for coming on such last minute. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
See you, Benny.
See you.
Bye.
Okay, cool. So next we're gonna have on Switcheo and Jack U. So Jack U is the Switcheo is the recent decentralized exchange. They're gonna be launching on EOS. So that's and Mao, which is the CTO or CEO of Obolus, that's behind technology, behind the exchange. So there's gonna be 2 individuals coming on. I'm not sure if having 5 guys on the screen is such the best idea. So if the 2 of the hosts could, if you guys want to take a break at the moment.
I'll take
no.
take 5.
You gotta come back. I don't have questions planned, but I'll listen hard and I'll ask what I can. I'll be here.
Literally, it's like my head's going to explode with information.
Go,
Zach,
man.
You want to go, Zach? You can.
Well, I don't have questions planned, so I'll need you for that. But I could probably come up with some questions as I listen. I know a little bit about the project.
I've got no questions either. But we can.
Let's just bring them on. I'll conversate with anyone. If they're building on EOS, I like
I'll
them.
be back in 5 minutes. I got to sort this cat out, and then I'll be back in a minute. All right, I'll come back in a sec.
All right.
So let's bring on Mao. Dr. Mao.
What's going on? I'm stuck.
And then we're gonna have I have Jack. What's been dancing on Telegram?
I don't know. I'm trying to like pay attention, but yet.
Hello.
Hello, Mao. How's it going?
I'm great, and you guys?
Not bad.
Good.
Nice to meet you, Zach.
Nice to meet you.
Just want to say I'm a long time fan of everything EOS.
Awesome. I'm actually glad to be on here talking to you guys, because I think we've kind of touched. So I think I talked to someone from your team on Telegram at some point.
Yeah, I think I sent a message.
But I'm here to listen. I want to know more.
Yeah. So I'll just do a quick intro, more than the ones I already did. So Switcheo, again, they're launching on EOS. Originally, they were a exchange focused on Neo. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we are the first DEX on Neo.
Right, and why don't you guys just introduce yourself? What do you do? What's going on?
Right. Okay. So I'm Jacques. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer of Switcheo. We are the first DEX on Neo. We launched on Neo about in late March last year, and then we launched on Ethereum in late last year. And now we're launching on EOS. So this is our third blockchain. Really excited to be launching on EOS. So recently we also launched an atomic swap between Neo and Ethereum, and that's a trading pair on our exchange currently. So when we launch on EOS, we will also be integrating atomic swaps really soon. So yeah.
Cool.
Do you have a timeline of when that EOS launch is, or is it?
It's in about 2 weeks. We're planning to launch it in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm Mao Hernandez. So I'm the CEO and co-founder of Obolus, and Obolus is a research and development company on blockchain, specifically on EOS. And I could describe the company in many ways. For example, we have a strong background in finance, capital markets. We are past researchers, PhDs, postdocs, and everything. But the way I want to describe Obolus tonight, and I say tonight because we are on Asia, so it's Monday here already. But the way I want to describe our company is we managed to snatch the biggest NEO decentralized exchange now to EOS. So we're really proud to do that, and we're also really happy to partner up with Switcheo. That these guys are amazing. So yeah, that's Obolus in like 30 seconds.
Very nice, very nice. So what's the deal? Why are you guys launching on EOS? And you already have some partners lined up. One of them was actually in the audience tonight, or on screen tonight. So yeah, tell us what's going on. What decided made you launch on EOS?
Right. So we decided to launch at EOS because we were initially looking for a new blockchain to launch on, and then we met Mao at one of these events that we went for at the start of this year, actually. So we met with Mao. We realized that they had a really good team and really technical team that's working on the EOS DEX. So yeah, we really clicked off, and we've been working with them ever since.
Very cool, very cool.
Yeah, from my point of view, sorry, if I may interrupt, I just want to tell a really quick story. So when we were having like this coffee back in Singapore in January, I was showing our prototype, right? So Ivan also and Jacques, Ivan the CEO, and then Jacques, the three of us, we were talking, and then I had a simple prototype of our exchange. And then as I was clicking, and like in a matter of like seconds, everything was settled after exchange. Ivan and Jack eyebrows, they were like raised so much, and they were like, "Holy shit, that's real!" And then since then they got really excited, and I think that was one of the moments they realized they should be on EOS.
Very nice. Yeah, the technology. I mean, like it started with BitShares, right? Dan like built that blockchain to be exchange. Like, it only makes sense that the architecture would fit so well with what you're trying to do, which is build a decentralized exchange. So the question I have is, obviously there's a lot of competition coming. You have EOS Bitfinex launching EOS Finex. You have Nudex already, which is an established player. There's so many different exchanges coming out. What sets your exchange apart from the other ones?
Right. So how we see ourselves differentiate from the many other exchanges on the many rather decentralized exchanges that are actually launching is that we focus a lot on the interoperability between different blockchains and how we can connect the different blockchains together. Because the issue with decentralized exchanges is that usually it just exists on only a single blockchain, and that's kind of lame. If you are only able to trade tokens from a single blockchain, like the decentralized exchanges that we are used to, like IDEX or Ether Delta on Ethereum, it's the issues with them is that you can't trade tokens that are launching on other chains, and as we see in 2019, we see a lot of ICOs that pretty much launching new tokens on the newer blockchains. So EOS is one of these blockchains that we are seeing a lot of these new token launches, and that's why we're really excited to be launching on EOS as well.
Nice.
So is your settlement layer on all of the different chains you're sitting on? Like for all the atomic swaps, you have a settlement layer on EOS, a settlement layer still on Neo. How's that all work?
Yeah, that's correct. So, okay, I think Mal will be better.
No. Yeah, so the way it works is through atomic swap on the settlement layer. So each of the chains, they have their own smart contract. So we developed the EOS smart contract to do the atomic swaps, exchanging secrets with Ethereum and Neo, for example. And they have their own. So you can think Switcheo as a non-custodial exchange.
So is the answer both then? So the settlement's kind of happening on both. So you're handling, are you like wrapping one of the tokens to move it to the other chain to like I guess run the contract on whatever chain? I'm not just sure of the architecture is my question.
So the way it works is I want to buy, let's say, Ethereum and EOS only without thinking the tokens or not. So me as a client, I want to buy EOS with 1 Ethereum. And then I sign a message saying, give me, I don't know, 500 EOS or something. I don't know how much would be. It would be like 200 EOS or something for 1 Ethereum. So I send this message, and I'm gonna that message is gonna be executed only if I receive 200 EOS on the other chain. So it's not really switching the tokens between chains. It's mostly switching tokens, meaning it's not getting Ethereum from EOS blockchain to Ethereum blockchain or the other way around. So the thing is, I'm gonna give Ethereum, and I'm going to give only if, that's why it's called atomic swap, only if I receive the EOS. And that can happen with any of the tokens, right? Ethereum tokens, EOS tokens, and yield tokens.
Is this similar to like what Binance is doing? I haven't looked too deep into.
Yeah, I didn't spend like too many hours, but as I was looking to, they just have their own single chain, and then they offer the tokens on that chain. So if you want to still buy Ethereum, you have to go to the centralized exchange. At this moment, I'm not sure what's the roadmap. Yeah, so that's one of the differences if you think between Binance and Switcheo is that you have to trade Binance tokens and only. While in Switcheo you can trade Ethereum, Neo, and now EOS. And if necessary, we're going to have a Binance at some point. Who knows?
So with any decentralized exchange, they all have the same problem, and that's with liquidity. How do you generate liquidity on your decentralized exchange and compared to like all the other ones? Like Bancor has a special algorithm. Kyber Network just built their relay to EOS, and they have a special liquidity method that I'm not as familiar with. But what is your specialty, I guess, or plan of attack, I guess, for having massive liquidity for a decentralized exchange?
Right. So for decentralized exchanges, I mean, we do identify liquidity as an issue for decentralized exchanges in general. And what we do is we try to actively market make all the different pairs through a market making partner that we have. So one of the requirements that we do is that we actually require the projects that list on us to provide some sort of capital so that we can market make their pairs through our liquidity partners. Yeah. So
is a token able to create that liquidity? Like, would an independent party be able to create a liquidity pool on your network? So like on Bancor, I could set up a relay myself for some token I have no affiliation with just because I like the token and I want to create a relay for it on Bancor to add liquidity because I like the project. Is that possible with you guys, or do you have to work directly with the projects themselves?
Right, we're actually looking into something like that where you can contribute to the liquidity pools, but that would be that's still in discussions, and we would likely launch it somewhere at the end of this year. So currently, it's actually true. It's not really open yet, but as for the atomic swaps, we are actually actively working on a way that users can contribute to the liquidity pool. So the difference in our atomic swaps and our main exchange is that for the rest of the tokens that are chain specific, meaning like if it's an EOS token against EOS, those are those that we actively market make. And for the atomic swap pairs, for example, like Neo and ETH, currently it's Switcheo and Ethereum. What we do is we have a pool of Ethereum and a pool of Switcheo tokens, and when users do the swap, it's more of like a Uniswap model where the price increases as more and more people buy, and we are looking into users being able to add to that liquidity pool.
Do you have this might be a hard question to answer off the top of your head, but do you have an idea of daily active users on your exchange, or if you want to give a number of maybe like dollars transacted per day, just any figures, I guess, to indicate like the adoption of your exchange in its current form? I know it's probably very young,
right.
but I'm just trying to get an idea of using it compared to some of the other ones, because there's always this liquidity issue, even with the established ones. Getting a lot of users to use them is always the hard part. People always are drawn to the more centralized exchanges like the Binances. But the decentralized ones have a lot of good features, like the biggest one owning your own keys. So what is your, I guess, daily activity like currently?
Right, currently about 1,000 to 2,000 users on our exchange. Our volume is about 100 to 200K every day. So that's awesome. From our Neo and Ethereum pairs. We haven't launched an EOS yet, so that's. I guess you'll see on that one.
That'll go up. Yeah, I'm sure that's the one thing. I guess we could talk about the EOS community a little bit. What was your experience like since joining the EOS community? Because I've heard this from every project that it's one of the most welcoming communities, and everyone is just jumping to answer your questions, taking your calls, and just really helping with the onboarding. Have you guys witnessed that firsthand? And can you speak to that? at all? And who do you want to shout out as being very helpful to you?
Right. I guess the biggest shout out is to Mao. Like he kind of introduced us. Him and his team kind of introduced us to the EOS community to begin with. And when we started reaching out to projects for listing, I guess the EOS community has really been really welcoming, and has been one of the most welcoming communities as of the blockchains that we've onboarded. So as soon as we did the interviews about EOS and when people found out that we were launching on EOS, a lot of the EOS projects actually reached out to them themselves and wanted to list on us. So I think that's really great. Like when we wanted to launch on Ethereum, we didn't have the same response, and now on EOS it's just really welcoming and really refreshing. Yeah.
Right. If I may jump in, I wanna just to give a shout out to some of the BPs that have been giving us some support. As Zach was mentioning, like the community is really supportive. So I think that some of the folks have been helping us a lot. Between the EOS Real, those guys are amazing. They're helping, giving us like some good feedback. EOS 42, the guys also, they're developers. They're giving us some insight on development of the smart contract and some of the developments. And here back in Japan, we are always talk with the JEDA guys. So I know they are not too active on the other side of the road, but here on Japan, we have like constant meetings with those folks, and they really help us. Like it's like you said, they always answer our calls. Like from the bottom to the top, they always like talking to us and giving us like some good feedback, what's happening within EOS, where to go. That's really interesting. So yeah, that's true. And yeah, so I think that's like the biggest. And of course, the Telegram groups. There's so many. There's some of them I feel like family. Especially the ones with developers, those folks, it's like 24/7. There is someone talking about like deep, interesting topics about EOS, smart contract, running nodes. It's So mostly these guys are really welcoming on the community.
Very cool, very cool. Okay, so again, I'm gonna have to be the bad guy. We only every session on Crowdcast only lasts 2 hours, and we're approaching that mark right now. So just two last questions. How much capital are you looking to require to list a token? Do you have a listing fee, basically?
We don't charge listing fees, and the capital is actually for market making. So the project, I mean, we do like a 6-month kind of loan thing where the project loans us their tokens to actively market make, and then we do a profit sharing model based on that. But we can that part is totally negotiable, and we encourage projects to reach out to us on that.
Okay, cool. So that gets into the next question, which is if they make an EOS token, how do they get it listed on the exchange? So I guess just reach out to you on Telegram, your email, that kind of stuff. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Can I add a couple of information? I think we didn't mention that to trade on our coming up EOS exchange and also the whole Switcheo exchange, you don't have to know anything about EOS. You don't know how to stake. You don't have to know how to buy run. You don't have to own an EOS account. Like one of the reasons we got so excited working the Switcheo, that's the things they put on the table in the beginning. Look, the user experience is very important for us. So let's make sure that the user doesn't know what's going on in the background, right? So I think we are always some believers that blockchain is going to be successful and EOS itself will be successful if it becomes invisible. So we've hidden everything. So we are paying CPU for the user, we are paying RAM, we are creating accounts, and for the user, it's really just taking care of those 12 mnemonic words. Sorry, I don't know if it's 12 mnemonics, but anyway, taking care of his key on his computer and really handle everything on the background. So if you want to really have a smooth and really neat user experience when trading, feel like Binance, so whatever centralized exchange you want to see, but having ownership of your tokens, I think Switcheo exchange is going to be like really, really nice.
So that is the perfect wrap up. So drop the links in the below where people can find you. Leave your exchange link as well. So again, like I said, Crowdcast has a 2-hour limit. I'm gonna switch to the other session 2, and I'm gonna pull everyone in. And we're gonna have Stan Larimer up next.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have the man himself, Stan. Okay, so I'll see you guys in just a little bit. Thank you, Mao. Thank you, Jack, for coming on.
Thank you.
I'll look forward to see you guys around in the EOS community.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Okay. Is everyone here? Drop a hello in the chat. Hey. Nice. Looks like everyone's back on. Michael's here. Nice. Okay, so let's bring back Mr. Zack. Oh yeah, Zack. And then we gotta have Michael and, of course, the man himself. Are you guys hearing echoes? Okay, Stan.
Oh.
Hey.
Man, this camera is making everything red on me. It looks like I just got stabbed. Is it looking like that for anyone else? I don't know if I'm nitpicky or what.
I think you're just, I mean, maybe a little pink, but other than that, looks fine.
Whatever. We're good. We're all live. We're excited for this next guest here.
Yes, if we could. We're waiting for Michael to come on as well as Stan. Stan should be here, but he is currently not live apparently. So maybe Michael could give him a ping.
That was an interesting one with the Switcheo, guys. That was cool.
Yeah, how did it work out finally,
Max?
Huh?
That was a long 5 minutes.
Yeah, that took a while, didn't it? I had to sort
it's all good.
out, I had to give her a little cuddle, make sure she's okay. She goes crazy.
You just have one cat? We can talk
just
cats.
The one, dude. I think every single person in EOS has just got loads of cats, bro.
It's a thing. I think it's tech in general.
Have you guys heard about like the disease where like the virus, if you catch it, you're more like susceptible to, wanting to own a cat?
What's up?
Hey, Michael, what's up?
I'm calling Stan, but it's just on the voicemail. So I just called him and texted him. He was aware of it, and so I'm sure he'll be on. He did say he had a church function, so maybe he got hung up there for a minute. You know how those things go.
Yeah, he was sitting in the live stream I saw, but he's not anymore.
Yeah, he may have been monitoring it from the church activity. I'd say like a good Christian should.
A good Christian should.
I give him crap all the time. How you guys doing today? I just caught the end of this last one, which was kind of cool, just to get kind of a little bit up to speed on some exchanges.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Max and Zach. I know Zach woke up really early today to do the event, so he's really excited.
That's dedication, bro.
Right.
It is. I think make sure we're all tested and ready to go. It's because you made everyone nervous with your Brave browser breaking everything yesterday, so I had to make sure I tested this putting it out.
Are you using Brave now, or are you on Chrome?
I'm on Chrome, man. I'm waiting for the next generation of browsers.
Yeah, well, let's speculate, people. What's going on with that? We'll talk about that later. But who's gonna take the lead with the questions? Are we just gonna wait for Stan, or?
I mean,
Michael's here, so I think we should just get started with Michael, and I'll try to keep
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Phoenix.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, so BEOS, what is it, and why does it involve a boat? What's going on?
Well, that's a big question. just briefly, Stan and I have been out advocating for BitShares and graphene technology for 6 years, long time. And so we've heard a lot of questions from across the table at boardrooms and different places and businesses, and got a lot of feedback from a lot of companies, businesses, investors, banks, you name it. I'm routinely on calls with some of the top banks in the world, once to twice a month, and discussing in particular blockchain technology and integration and that stuff. The questions always come up to different things like governance of the chain, or block producers, who they are, things like that. When people build something on a protocol layer, they want to be assured that it's going to be there for their business. It's kind of hard to tell investors otherwise, and to explain that to them. That's a big reason. One of the other reasons is that a lot of people have been monitoring EOS. It's kind of hard to ignore, coming out there and raising billions of dollars, and really just coming in there. I mean, that was a knockout punch, just coming in, and it really got everybody's attention. But the problem is, people would say, well, is BitShares going to stay competitive? What's this mean for BitShares? And stuff like that. And that's a question that was almost constant. And regardless of the answer, regardless of the fact that I feel like BitShares is fine, will be fine, even if it maybe didn't have that side chain function that we're offering with BEOS, coming in there and giving that to the community. We don't want to assume it's going to be fine. So I would just rather, integrate some new features and do some stuff to help out the community, make it competitive, make sure that it's able to take advantage of all the cool stuff that, EOS is doing and adding. And that's really the main reason why we did all this in the first place.
Cool. So now we know why you're doing it. So can you tell us, what is it? Like, you say you're trying to add the nice features of EOS into BitShares, and you're doing this with the BEOS?
Correct. So what it is it allows for interchain operability. We are allowing for tokens that are BitShares based to port over to an EOS based environment, and also EOS-based tokens to port over to a BitShares-based environment. EOS tokens can port into the BEOS blockchain right now and back out, even though that's not the main function that we're really talking about. Really, we're in this rainfall period, so we're just kind of showcasing the fact that BitShares-based tokens can be reissued over on that chain through our gateway currently. Eventually, we're going to introduce a trustless gateway. Basically no counterparty or anything like that for the tokens to go across. That's one big reason. The porting of smart assets, hopefully BitUSD and BitCNY, porting over to EOS and being used over there might see increased usage and increased usage of BitShares being locked up as collateral to create those smart assets. Those are a couple of things. One of them, this is kind of an easy workaround. People have said that they wanted to see Ledger, nano ledger support for BitShares, and so with BEOS, basically, you can store your BitShares-based BEOS tokens on a ledger. So some ledger support, and so some kind of security like that for people. Those are all big functions. The biggest one really was the ability for trustless blockchain interoperability. So just the ability for, eventually, right now we have to use a gateway. And we're a counterparty in that. But our goal is to eliminate that entire thing. But you have to start somewhere, right? So here we are. Yeah.
So I think oh, you got one too? I heard you mention something about interoperability between EOS tokens on the BEOS, and you said there's a one-way is there a one-way peg to kind of do that right now? Or is that something?
You could transfer an EOS token into the BEOS blockchain and hold it in the gray mass wallet right now, and you can transfer it back out. So
with the jurisdictional agility and the potential for big regulated companies to maybe even launch an STO on BEOS or BEOS, is it BEOS or BEOS? How about that? Let's kick that off.
It's tomato.
It's kind of like, yeah, okay. So would it be possible to send those tokens to EOS today? If there was a security token on BEOS today, would I be able to put it on EOS yet?
It would take probably just a couple minutes of work for us to be able to port it over. So yeah, short answer. And the idea is for, and so I've been around the blockchain stuff for a long time, and I don't know how everybody else feels about, the tribalism and stuff that goes on there. So I think some of it's healthy and some of it isn't. I think the whole thing is that the simple fact is that we're all kind of on the same team when it comes to mindset and what it is. It's just that we want to accomplish things in a different fashion, and sometimes people get ego involved and get all crazy and stuff like that. The problem is that we all really are on the same team. We should be kind of supporting each other. And I think blockchain interoperability, all of us working together to actually just increase the usability of all of our blockchains together is going to get us much further. And then all this like infighting and tribalism and, my dad can beat up your dad stuff. It's just really nonsense. So when we came in with BEOS, like our intention was to go and eventually be able to port over ERC20 tokens. Even we'll get to other types of tokens like on maybe waves and stuff like that. But really the big stuff, just being able to allow those tokens to just cross chains. So they could actually go onto the big three consensus type chains. You got EOS, you got your BitShares ones, you got your ERC ones. And then it really just becomes a fact of function of what the user really wants to do with it. And then what the dapp developers are doing on each of those chains to provide a value for that token. I think it's better for everybody to just focus on the dapps itself rather than necessarily the blockchain development part of it, because developing blockchains and then running them is a pain in the ass. Yeah.
I think you're on a good course what you're saying about the tribalism thing as well, because like when you review dapps, right, you go into like the Telegram group of a dapp, and it's literally like a parallel universe between like EOS and Tron, and it's all the same stuff is happening, but we don't communicate with each other. And it kind of feels, yeah, you're so right. And it kind of feels like it's not the right way to go. It's like email at the beginning. It's like, if you have a Google account, you still use Yahoo. Do you know what I mean? Or it's the same thing now, whatever. But back in the day, AOL and Google or whatever, you'd still use both emails. But at the moment, we're kind of like isolating ourselves. So what you're saying with the whole meshing it together, it's so important in my opinion, man.
Could you imagine if we had the same kind of tribalism? Someone's like, you're using Angular instead of React, or you're using a SQL database instead of MongoDB. What's wrong with you? You suck. It's terrible. Exactly. It's trash.
I've literally seen this stuff come to like physical blows in conferences, Yeah. I did. Yeah. I was like sitting there like 2014 in Vegas. I'm like sitting there going, oh my God, like people are like literally like starting to like wring each other's neck in the lobby.
There's going to be bets on this, and there's going to be like a whole market of like betting who's going to win, like fighting in the ring, Tron against EOS, like Dan Larimer versus Justin Sun. It's going to be
$10 on Dan.
I'll promote that. I'll organize it. I mean,
I got a question as well.
We got
I got a quick question as well for you. Like I heard something on a podcast where you were using a piece of like gold to back cryptocurrency, which is really, really fascinating for me because like there we go, there it is. I saw that. I did a video about it, like talking about it, and I just think it's so interesting because obviously like the whole debate with money, what real money is, and then cryptocurrency coming into it. Just explain that whole process because I'm really interested to hear it.
Okay, well, and it does tie in with BEOS, I think, quite a bit. So about a year and a half ago, a few years ago, Stan and I had been talking about the want to. We have BitGold on BitShares, but there's no collateralization there. It's just kind of big price feeds, which is cool and all, and it's a great experiment. But we wanted to do something more. We also both are big proponents of sound money and kind of going back to a gold standard. For better or worse, I mean, we're all here talking about blockchain and crypto and digital stuff, but there is a way to tie in, I think, physical real world values and the way to redeem those things and the digital values. And so we wanted to not just provide a really great example of that, but provide, I think, the best example of that, which is sound money, gold and silver backed money. Now, a lot of people have done the blockchain stuff where they've tried to securitize or commoditize gold or precious metals and stuff like that. In fact, there's probably a couple hundred of them that have been attempted or are ongoing or are trying to launch right now at any given time. And I've actually got a really great chart that kind of compares what we've done with Quintric versus everybody else. The biggest thing that we've done that is different than anybody else is that we are 100% reserve on deposit. We have insurance by Lloyd's of London. We have 8K cameras pointed at all of the gold and silver in the vault, so you can actually view it and see it from the time it's set in the vault, and you can rewind. It's not time-lapse or anything like that, so it's all stored on a server that you can review. You can zoom into the lot numbers, and you can see it's all there and all that stuff, and you can actually reconcile the amount of gold that's sitting there in the vault with the amount of that's in circulation on the blockchain. So you can
who owns that gold? Is it BEOS own the gold? Right.
No. So the owners of the gold are actually the people who will buy those particular tokens. We act almost as a custodian, as a custodian / escrow agent. So we hold that gold. We don't own it. They're not signing it over to us like you do when you put your cash in the bank or anything like that. We are merely a custodian of that. We have certain rules that we have to follow, and then when they cash in or out or anything like that, we have certain escrow legal kind of layers in there to protect the users just as much as us. So like money transfer licenses may or may not need to be had, lots of different things that you can do. Plus, what we do different is it's all legal tender gold and silver. So it's either US Mint gold and silver, which is got a special tax classification in the United States, or it's international coinage, which are again legal and legal for use, which means that there's no capital gains, which means that there's a lot of tax benefits for when you use these kind of things. Right. So, I mean, that was like one of the really big things that we did. What we did with BEOS is we actually backed BEOS with a very, very small amount of Quint just to create an ultimate floor. There's an ultimate redemption value. Now, the cool thing about Quint, too, is that you can redeem it. I'm going to grab something just so I can show you guys. You guys can redeem it. So you have this. Yeah, you've got the digital gold and
where's the gold? Show me the gold.
Yeah, he's got the Fort Knox gold. Here it comes, gold bars.
Right. Well, hold on a minute. I might have to find my.
Let's speculate. He's gonna pull out the B1 wallet, everybody.
Yeah, hold on a second.
He's gonna pull out a spoiler for B1 June.
It's gonna be some like amazing reactor blockchain crypto.
It's gonna be kryptonite.
Yeah.
Kryptonite for proof of work blockchains.
This is a circle kind of deal, right? So you've got this digital token backed by gold and silver, international or domestic, legal tender. You can send it anywhere in the world in about a second, super confirmed transactions. And then if you want that gold or silver, you just send it back to us at our vault. We own the vault, so it's not like we're contracting with the vault, so we can just seize the land or the vault from us or anything. You send it to the vault, and we will send you the gold and silver. So you actually can redeem that physically and have it in your hands. What we've also done is started creating these bills. These are actual bills made out of 24 karat gold.
Whew.
Okay.
Wow.
Imagine making it rain with those,
Right. And this is about 25 units of Quint, which are about $1. So
that's real money. You're holding real money.
Yeah,
It's not paper. It's real.
Right. And you've got the other examples right here of
what's that monopoly money? Get rid of that.
Right. Now, so we're actually producing new bills with these. But what I want to say about this is very simple: is we've got serial numbers on all the bills. I don't know if you can see the little red numbers there. Those go to a corresponding wallet address on the BitShares network with these tokens that are in there. And you can verify that those are in there. So you can accept the bill physically, right? Boom. Now you can take this bill and send it back to us, and we can either give you digital tokens and drop them in your account, or you can cash it out for fiat currencies, or you can cash it out for the gold and silver legal tender coinage, which we'll then send to you. So it puts the whole thing full circle. It's a monetary system based on value. It's a legal monetary system that's internationally recognized and domestically in the U.S. It's an alternative to the U.S. dollar and Federal Reserve notes. And we're starting to produce 1s, 5s, 10s, 20s, and 50 denominations of these bills. And our goal is essentially to release these bills in the state of Utah first as legal tender in the state of Utah. So they will be state of Utah legal tender specific. And then as we work our way around some of the other states. Now, our legal counsel / partner on this has helped several states draft the bills that they have then enacted for gold and silver legal tender specie. And these states, I mean, and you can look up the states: Utah, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Idaho just passed, Texas, Kansas. You know, you got Georgia, you got North Carolina. All these guys are either have passed or in the process of all of these things. So it's pretty crazy stuff.
I could just talk to you about.
Yeah, this is the first I've seen this money. I kind of want to know what the long-term plan is for it, because it seems to me like, I guess having that hand-to-hand interaction makes sense, but it seems like it's moving backwards. So if you go to like a cashless society like China, for example, they use WeChat for everything. You tip a homeless person by scanning their QR code on their phone. So if that's where we're going, what use does I know it has some gold in it, but what's the reason for this, I guess, beyond instead of just transacting digitally?
You know, a lot of people. So for one, I'm reading some of the comments. There's a lot of anti-counterfeiting technology in here, and we actually there's patents on this technology as well. The goal is a couple of things. Number one, you're never going to get real adoption until you close the loop, period. And this is closing the loop, number one. Number two, people always do want to have some sort of physical certainty, no matter what, even if you go to a cashless society. And I would argue that a cashless, fully digital monetary society is a very dangerous one. You know, and I think that you deserve to have some privacy of transactions. And this would enable you to have a layer of that. You know, there's an ultimate redemption source at the end of the day. But as people continue to accept it, you don't have to necessarily go and redeem it for that underlying value. The new bills will actually have the entire amount of gold in the bill. This is kind of like a fractional type of bill where about $8 of gold is in the bill and about $32 is vaulted. And so you can send the bill in and you can redeem it. The other bills, new bills, will have the entire amount of gold in that bill. That doesn't do my company any good because I actually wouldn't make any money on the transactions, you know, with those. And we've actually debated that quite a bit. So it's actually a really great question that you asked there, is why would we want to do this? Because we're screwing ourselves out of transactional fees. If we can keep it digital, we're raking it in all day. But it comes down to people want these. And imagine going to your farmer's market and instead of using your shitty, you know, US dollars, you could use these. And having these specific to municipalities, having these specific to states, and stuff like that. Kind of the way it was meant to when not everybody here may be a U.S. citizen, but that's the way it was meant to be in the Constitution. So it's pretty interesting.
Very cool.
Yeah, so people are talking a little bit, and I think the other main argument people have is that, okay, you know, you're vaulting the stuff. How can I trust you? Well, you know, that's just one of those things, you know, track record and proof and whatnot. One of the reasons we put it in Utah is because Utah is a very good jurisdiction for gold and silver, I don't want to say anti-federalist, but they are, you know, they've been known to be kind of an anti-federalist type of state where they don't really let the federal government come in there and just tell them what to do. The state attorney general actually is a customer of the sister service of this, of what we set up there. So he actually has used the gold and silver service there and the credit card that you can swipe at the registers and stuff like that. So, I mean, he's familiar with all this stuff, and they've already vowed that if the gold confiscation were to happen again, like what happened previously with FDR, that they would be, you know, leading the charge on the fight. And so I think putting that gold there in that jurisdiction was probably the best idea outside of Wyoming, you know.
Cool. So again, very cool. The gold question, like I know this also spoke about BEOS, but the gold thing got really interesting, and I didn't want to interrupt the conversation.
We're porting the gold thing onto BEOS.
Right.
As it's on there, it will eventually port over to EOS, you know.
Right. So we're gonna have gold on EOS. There's another project that's coming out that's also doing similar things, right? Yeah, Max. I don't know why you're muted again.
What's our time limit on this? How much we got left?
We're actually just on the time limit. So.
Oh no.
Yeah. But as always,
Michael, you talked about these gold bills.
Zach want to get his own hands on it.
Well, you know, there's a lot of ways to get those. If you guys want to contact me, you can, and I can tell you how to get a hold of the new run. I don't know if we have any of these left. Somebody just came in there and bought, I think, everything we made on our production run, which was like $1 million worth or something like that.
Wow, that's crazy.
They're beautiful. We did a deal with a company, and they I think they bought just all of them that we had, but we're porting it all over to BEOS. You know, BEOS has an inherent collateralization of a small amount of this just to have an ultimate floor price. It's one of the things that we did to kind of make some of the legal layers of the token distribution. Because when you distribute a token or anything of value, you are potentially putting people at risk for taxable events and all sorts of stuff. The IRS said that even if you don't claim a share drop or basically a fork coin, you could still be potentially liable for the monetary value of the taxation on it. So it's like when you share drop something on somebody, like you may be doing something that they may not. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to wrap this up just to try to keep a decent schedule. But yeah, again, I think the topic is fascinating.
He said he'll be on in a few minutes, but I'll let him know. Maybe we'll figure out something else, huh?
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, so drop a link where people can find you, discuss the topic, drop your Telegram. So next we're gonna have Carlos come on. I'm not sure if you guys, Max, you're muted for some reason. I don't know why again. Yeah, you're muted. I can't hear it. I can't hear you. Yeah, I have no idea, man. I have no idea. And Zach, do you want to stay on for the next one, or you think you're gonna?
Yeah, I could stay on for a little bit.
Okay, cool. All right, thanks again, Michael. Thank you very much. Maybe if Stan ever comes back on, we'll just have him on just to say hello, because we promise people Stan and people want Stan.
Yeah, everybody loves it. I'll tell him to still hop on there and just to type in the chat so you guys know he's here.
Okay, fantastic.
Take care,
Thank you very much.
All right.
Ooh. Man, this is like a marathon, isn't it, Zach?
It is.
I don't know how Matt does it. Matt and Fuzzy.
They go too quick too.
Yeah. They must have like energy drinks or something.
I got 2.
Oh, I finished my iced coffee. Ooh. So we're waiting for Carlos. Before we do that, full disclosure, I have signed on to Team Metpacktoken as their senior marketing advisor. So Zach's, feel free to call me out if you feel like I'm being a bit biased. So
oh, good.
You're here to do the checks and balances kind of thing.
As long as you announce it, make it obvious, it's all good.
Yeah,
I think it's my opinion.
I think a lot of people in the space have like their hands in multiple projects. Kind of just seems like, just pretty normal, actually.
I mean, it saves a lot of time. I mean, there's certain people that know a lot of people or have done things many of times themselves. So there's certain things there's certain problems I could solve in 5 minutes that might take someone else 5 days to find the right person to field those questions, or the right person to come up with a programmatic solution. So there's a lot of benefit to working with a lot of projects, and it's not always like full capacity, I guess, for people that work with a lot of them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's still a very small space, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, still waiting for Carlos to come on. How are you feeling, Zach? Are you feeling okay?
Good. Yeah, I'm not as familiar. I'm actually not familiar at all with this project. This is one that I'm not familiar at all with. Are you comfortable kicking it off, or do you want to wait for Carlos?
I mean, I'm okay. Like I definitely did my homework on it before I signed on. We don't want to sign. I don't want to sign on my name on any random project.
Of course.
So yeah, very interesting project. It's one of the few projects that are doing supply chain on EOS. I mean, like you hear a lot of supply chain projects on VeChain, and Ethereum has a bunch of them as well. And on EOS, I think we only have parcel and metal packaging token. As far as I know, those are only 2 supply chain projects.
There's always probably some in stealth that we don't know about, but yeah, those are the only ones I know of.
So yeah, they actually, you know, it's funny because when we were talking, and one of the things that we know they're not out to lie to people or scam people was that they're doing this as like a recycling program, like, you know, metal package token. And what they're trying to do is kind of clean up the supply chain of the metal packaging industry and try to make it sure so that the cans go back into use rather than into the landfill, right? That's a very noble goal, but it's not necessarily something that people want to throw money at. So,
yeah, it's the metal or is it? I'm reading the page now, so it's the metal packaging industry, but it's not just like a recycling project. It's
no. So they're gonna. I'm not sure. I think it's better for Michael to get into detail. For Carlos to get into details, because I don't know what I can say and cannot say.
I know how that is.
But yeah, they are working on the full life cycle of the product, if you will, from the beginning when it's being made to when, you know, after it's been used, collect it, and make sure that process, that cycle of life finishes.
I'm guessing the founders have experience in this industry, because this is a really random one to be tackling if you don't come from this industry.
No, they're veterans in the industry. I think collectively they have over like 50 years of experience in the industry. So they're definitely veterans in the industry. Let me ping Carlos. You know, it's much better. Okay, he's accepted the screen, but he's not connecting. Okay, let me try that again. Loading video stream. Stella Bella. Hey, Stella Bella is in the chat. Will this be available on YouTube later? Yes, it will be.
It's on right now, live. Stella.
Yeah.
It's on the Max Dapp and Everything EOS channel right now. On like three to 4 second delay.
Yeah, so after that, it'll be on their channel, as well as I will send out the raw doc. Hey, we have Stan. So Stan is on.
Hey. Do we get to
why don't
until your buddy gets here?
Yeah, I'll put Stan on until I figure out what's going on with Carlos. Oh wait, is this actual Stan? He's signing over a different account.
Well, we have a fraudulent Stan Larimer.
We have a fraudulent Stan.
Maybe,
yeah.
Sign a transaction. You gotta
with the BEOS wallet.
Yes.
Hey, Stan,
the legend. We didn't get to talk about the cruise ships and the satellite plans with Michael. I want to hear about that. That's what has me excited is the timelines for the international jurisdictional agility aspect of BA.
Yeah, happy to talk about that whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe a little bit about the international about the jurisdictional agility, and then the approach your block producers have taken to that to set up the nodes. I know you have one in space, and then you're planning to do some on international waters. And I think that's super interesting. And I'd love to hear about some of the use cases that you envision that there could be with this type of regulational certainty.
Yeah, well, the whole idea is that every node knows where its GPS location is. So that's something new that we had to add. And then every node is, every smart contract that executes on the system needs to know and specify what GPS coordinates are acceptable or not acceptable for executing. So we could have the GPS coordinates that tell you that you got a node in Utah, and therefore all the legal tender laws and escrow laws that apply to the state of Utah would apply to anything that executes there. And so a lot of the Quintrate traffic will be executing only on nodes in Utah, because that's where we have all the great legal tender laws that allow us to deploy gold-backed, silver-backed currencies and do them in a place where the transfers occur only in the state of Utah under those laws. So that's one simple example. And then, of course, the other examples are international waters and space, which are two places that are, kind of regulation-free. And therefore, we can run a whole bunch of different things that, who knows what people will do. But one certain example is cruise ships, when they sail out of port, turn on their casinos once they're in international waters and shut them down when they come into port again. Why do they do that? Well, it's because they're free to execute casino-type stuff when they're in international waters and not when they're not. So the same kind of thing will happen on our cruise ship that is currently, we've got one on a Radiance of the Seas, a Royal Caribbean ship right now, been carried aboard by Lana, who is sailing a 1 month cruise crossing from Australia the whole way to Vancouver, Canada. And while she's making that whole long trip, she's running a node for us and demonstrating, the capability of sign blocks when she's at sea. That bounces off of a medium Earth orbit satellite network that's up there servicing all Royal Caribbean ships. And we've demonstrated that we can indeed keep up with the blockchain. Keep in mind, this is a 5 second or a half a second blockchain. So it's really tooling along there, and it takes a lot to bounce off the satellite and back down in time to sign a block, but we did it. And so that's one thing.
So when's the next set of satellites going into space? How many are up there now? And what's like a rough timeline of when they'll be functional on the BEOS mainnet?
Well,
or are they active now?
Yeah, we've got 2 satellites that we can use. One is called Theo, which is a tiny little one. It's one I showed a picture of on one of my Steam posts a while back. It's about 4 inches square and about that long. And it basically is in orbit now and in use by someone else, but we can piggyback on to that same processor and take control of it later. There's another one called a presat, which is about the size of, well, it's that big of a CubeSat, and it's got a little more processing power on board. Neither one of those 2 satellites that we have access to right now is probably going to be powerful enough to run a full-up node because they don't have the amount of memory necessary to hold all the blockchain that is going to be produced. But they do have the ability to execute what we call enterprise node contents. Enterprise nodes are things that sit on top of the blockchain and do functions and issue commands to the blockchain. And we'll be using one of those nodes to hand out ramfall, for example. We've been doing rainfall. I think maybe Michael may have mentioned that. But that particular rainfall of BEOS tokens has been happening and will be happening till the 7th of July, I think is the last day there. But ramfall, the RAM tokens, continue to go on for a total of 80 weeks. So that'll go on for like a year and a half. And we'll be able to put out some other tokens that will be being distributed from space down to anybody who still keeps their stuff staked. And so that'll be something new we'll be announcing. What is it you get raining down on you from heaven like manna?
That's awesome. So if I'm a smart contract developer and I want to develop a contract that only executes in a specific jurisdiction, how many nodes are there currently on BEOS? And whenever I select Utah, for example, if there's only one node in Utah, does that create an attack vector knowing that there's only this one node that could possibly run the transaction rather than being it randomly selected from the 21 actives, for example?
Well, there are 21 active nodes on the system right now. We'll be putting those nodes, spreading them out further and further over the next month, so that there will be nodes in a bunch of different jurisdictions. There'll be a node sitting up in the bunker in Canada. There'll be a node sitting in Ireland, and probably another node over on the Vancouver coast of Canada.
What are their requirements to become a node? Are they all self-appointed, like on Warbly, for example, or is there an application process for someone like an EOS Canada or like a Cypherglass? If they wanted to run a node on BEOS, how would they do that?
Well, they should contact us, and we're going to vet everybody who is wanting to be a node signer, just because this is to be an institutional grade blockchain, which means that we want to assure institutions who will ultimately run on this thing that they have good, solid, reliable, known nodes. So it'll be a little bit different philosophy than the idea of possibility of having unknown nodes or anonymous nodes. I don't think too many people get elected by being anonymous, but they may not use their real name, right? They have a reputation that they've developed on BitShares, and so BitShares seeks to maintain nodes that are independent of any type of external control. But when you get over onto the BEOS side, we're going to have nodes be actual registered companies, probably.
Cool.
So that doesn't mean that everybody is going to be a company, but a lot of the companies who are using the network will be providing the nodes. And then, of course, they'll get elected like anybody else. We do have sort of a bicameral type of an election system, because we do have 2/7 of the tokens held by the BCLA, the BEOS Limited Cooperative Association, which is a nonprofit organization that is issuing these tokens out to everybody. So they'll get 2/7 of the vote, but everybody else will get 5/7 of the vote on it. So we'll have our thumb on the scale a little bit on who gets elected, but ultimately it'll be a function of people who hold the tokens that are raining down on everybody right now.
Cool.
Very cool.
Do we have a message? Out of time?
Yes. So only about 5 minutes. Again, love the conversation. Man, I wish these could like run on a lot longer. I really do. But yeah, 5 minutes. Zach, maybe you want to wrap up. I don't see any questions from the chat. So
I have questions. It's all right. Let's talk about Ruon, because I think it's super interesting. It's one of the most fully fleshed out social media platforms based on the white paper. How much of the roadmap and features in the white paper actually built today or will be built for the time of launch? And do you have a rough idea of the launch date for Ruon? Because I think it's still in an active fundraising round right now. So
I think it's real close to getting launched, probably within the coming month. I expect it'll be launched out there. I think that there is some of the functions aren't built yet, but many of them are, and so it'll have an initial operational capability.
Is it built on top of any sort of like social media protocol or anything, or did you architect it yourself, or is there anything?
No, I haven't had a whole lot to do with the architecture of Ruon. I am an advisor, and we are providing the BEOS blockchain as being something that it can sit on. But it's the brainchild of Tim Burke, who's invented it, and he has his own development team that have been working on it.
And they're tied in with Sovereign Sky also? Are they kind of linked together?
Yeah, Sovereign Sky is another joint project I'm doing with Tim. It's a separate company, and it's the one that is going to put up the constellation of satellites that much of BEOS will run on. So that will raise money and then go develop satellites that are custom built for running blockchains. So those will have tons of memory, lots of processing power, and communication capability, so that they can talk to the next satellite ahead of them in orbit and the satellite behind them in orbit, so that we can connect all the satellites together in a ring around the equator.
Is your plan for the mesh network with the satellites, when Boeing and like SpaceX, when they launch their mesh networks in space, are you going to also be kind of relaying between those, or is it going to be specifically between your satellites and the Earth base and the transmitters on Earth?
No, we don't have that particular solution picked yet. We've looked at a number of different ways to do it, and that'll be part of the design of the satellite to figure out how best to make all that work. And we won't really contract to have those satellites developed until after we start raising the money to pay the contractors to do it. So you're going to be looking at probably an 18-month period of time before we're able to get those kind of satellites in space. But in the meantime, I think we'll get a chance to put ourselves onto the Mission Space project, which is, you can read about that at missionspace.one.
Mm-hmm.
They're putting up 4 mini Hubble telescopes that people from the ground will be able to command and look at anything in our solar system.
I think that's super cool. So you basically pay in tokens to rent time on the telescope to look at whatever you want in the space.
That's exactly right. And those
cool.
are going to give amateur astronomers a whole new capability. Right now, amateur astronomers don't have any hope of getting any time on the Hubble Space Telescope, right? It's just too precious. But these will be targeted to set half of all the telescope time available to amateur astronomers. The other half will be sold off to people who want to use it for research purposes of different types.
Awesome. Will you be at in Washington, D.C. on June 1st, even though your affiliation has nothing to do with Block One? Are you personally going to be there to get a picture with me?
I hadn't thought about it, but theoretically I could, I suppose.
Awesome.
I don't think anyone's going to turn you away, so. Very cool, very cool. Thank you so much, Stan. Please drop a link where people can find you. I'm sure Zach has a lot more questions for you. Probably, maybe, everything EOS is a great show. If you have some time, it's probably a good show to have a chat. So
yeah,
you're welcome, Stan. Message me sometime. We've talked in the past.
We're real excited about tying BitShares onto the EOS network and making essentially BitShares become an effective sidechain of EOS, and making its tokens portable across EOS, and EOS tokens portable across where they can trade on BitShares. So that's also a part of this overall strategy.
Excited to see it. Really, really, really excited about this project, Stan.
Outstanding. Well, very good. I enjoyed talking to you guys. Thanks for having me here.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Ooh, wow. Okay, so Stan did show up, talk about a lot more stuff. The whole satellite stuff, I have no idea why is it not a bigger deal? Like,
well, that's why I wanted to ask
little talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a lack of talking about it from Blue Crypto. Go follow his channels. You'll hear all about the satellites.
Well, he should make some animations, and maybe that's what would get people riled up. Because I remember like Blockstream sent a Bitcoin note, and that was headline news across media.
But it would run out of electricity so fast. That's the difference. Is you could run you can look at EOS Authority to see how much actual electricity a node runs, because they did this carbon trading thing where they basically negate all the carbon emissions from running a block producer node on the main net. So they actually have the exact number of electricity it uses, and using today's technology of battery power, you could run a full node, a full EOS node in outer space for several years off of a battery. Whereas if you wanted to do that with a Bitcoin node, I couldn't see how it would last even 1 year with the amount of electricity it would require, the size of the battery it would require.
That is true. That is true. BEOS is such a the work that Stan's doing, putting nodes out in the ocean, international water, putting it out in space, making he's got his hands in so many different projects. It's kind of crazy.
I mean, it fits him perfectly. He's, I believe, a career rocket engineer, and the guys that he's partnered with on some of those space projects they also have their own. I'm not sure if it's NASA, but I think it's some other space companies that they all have that background. So. That's what I like to look at with these projects is is the team qualified? Or do they have the proper background? And the answer to that's yes.
Well, speaking of that, as someone who is qualified to do projects in his background, we're gonna try to get Carlos on again. Hopefully,
all right.
Switch a browser. Hopefully that works. Ben just said the world has no borders. That is indeed correct. And that's part of the amazing thing about the EOS architecture. I feel like, hey, there he is.
Hey guys.
Hey, what's up, Carlos? Finally, we got you on. So, speaking of people who are qualified to handle the subject at hand, we have Carlos. Carlos, if you would pronounce your last name for me, that'd be great, because I won't butcher it again.
Sorry, can you repeat that? 1 second. I apologize a little bit. Okay.
So yeah, what's your last name, Carlos? I want to say it, but I don't want to butcher it.
My name is Carlos Cabanela. It's a Spanish name, of course. I was born in the Netherlands, but both my parents are Spanish. Yeah.
Right. So Carlos, introduce yourself. What got you into the metal packaging industry, and how long you've been working on it, and what the heck is MPT?
I started in the metal packaging industry in the year 2001, right after I graduated from college, and I've been doing it for 18 years now, and to be honest, I always have been wondering how to. I like to make things more effective, more efficient, and to be honest, I was thinking about all of these questions that I have during my years of experience. But blockchain, well, it didn't exist to me. It existed already, but not really in the way that it does today. So when I got to know about blockchain and what it can really achieve, I simply thought of it as a vehicle, as to implement or execute basically ideas to make things more efficient. I don't think I can put it in any other or formulate it in any other way. Yeah. So in early 2018, I started to work on MPT, and well, it's been hectic. Talked to a lot of people, done a lot of research, did the white paper, and well, the first 4 to 5 months, basically, we were actually, the team and myself, trying to choose the best vehicle, so the best blockchain to do it, and we decided that EOS was that, and I'm very happy that I made that decision at that time, because as I heard in previous interviews, the community is amazing, really. Everybody is so helpful. It's very low threshold to talk to people, even very people within the ecosystem. So that's basically it. That's how I got started, Jack.
Speaking of people reaching out to you, Parcel, Parcel reached out to you, like, kind of just the first few days, right? Like, because like I said before, they're the only other supply blockchain out there. Have you guys worked anything out, or is that like still like a talk in progress?
We are in talks, or we have been in talks, but it's been so hectic. But I remember him asking me that to talk about possibly integrating our smart contracts in some way. We haven't got into details any more than that at this point.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So Zach, do you have any questions for Carlos?
Who are the main users of this platform? So all the different types of people who would kind of be hands-on with it, and how many people are I guess, are they all using the platform actively, or is it more of like a passive thing that's abstracted from them?
this is all going to start basically when basically we need two things, right? We are early stage at the moment, and we need two major things to make this happen. And that's first the development of a stable working mobile app throughout the world. So that's it's not an easy task to do. And the other thing, and that's well, that's the biggest financial barrier that we have to face is the manufacturing of the MPC deposit points. And when that happens, the points start to get installed and interact with the app. The target market is every consumer in the world, basically.
Cool.
So,
go ahead.
I didn't actually have something ready.
So one of the really cool things that I think, you know, Carlos' project, for lack of a better word, is pretty strange because it actually involves physical machinery. Can you go into a little bit about that, Carlos?
You want me to describe the functions of the machine?
Yeah. How does the machine come into play, and how does that connect with your token? Like, how does that work?
Let me explain it like that. What the machine will do is it will recognize a metal container, and it will only open up for metal cans or containers. And then when the machine reaches a certain level, the metal gets compacted, right? In between both processes, there is a division process by magnetism. So aluminium, which is not non-magnetic, goes one way, and the magnetic material goes the other way. And then we reach like two baskets where when they get to a certain level, they get compacted, and that's a way of looking at it that I think has not done before. It's basically you're forming a commodity that is going to be used to create basically new prime material. And the token reward system is connected to a certain QR code that is going to be printed on the can, and we have two parallel ways. It's relatively complicated to explain it, but I'll try anyway. It's going to be so brand owners and when I talk about brand owners, I'm talking about Pepsi, Coke. Companies that actually own the brand, and they fill the cans with their own product. As they own the design, they can make that decision. They can insert a QR code that has certain MPT encryptions embedded, and then they can give a reward depending on the factors that they want, basically. So
the end user has like an app on their phone. They're supposed to scan a QR code on a can. Is that part of this?
Well, the QR code on the can is going to interact with a scanner on the machine, and the tokens are transferred to the wallet on the mobile app of the end consumer. But to be honest, there's also a parallel way which no brand owner is, and I'm very. We thought of this months ago, something like that. And there's also going to be a weight factor included. So this weight factor that will correspond with an X amount of tokens, and will be sent to the person that returns empty cans. That's basically it. And what we don't know, and we cannot imagine the impact that it's going to have. we've done calculations, and if we fill and empty the one machine like six, 7 times, we collect metal scrap that has paid already for the machine.
So does the technology already exist? You're asking basically aluminum manufacturer. So let's use cans as the example. Do they already have technology in place that any new software could integrate with that already scans all the barcodes on there that you could use to scan your QR codes? Or is this something you'd have to provide for them?
No, we are going to provide that for them. We are working currently on all this code and software that is going to be in place when the machines are physically there. We're working on the prototype now, and this involves also exactly what you're mentioning. This part of the software, which is very important, and special thanks to DIIP blockchain, who has done all our smart contracts, and they're also based in the Netherlands and part of the team, of course. And well, they will do that. They will. It's actually quite. It's not that complicated. Myself, I'm not a programmer, so to me, everything in this area is somewhat complicated. But I've been told that it's really not that complicated to do that.
Is there a specific like regional test area that you're targeting for all of this? Or, I mean, it'd be really hard to roll out globally, I would expect. So are you testing it in one country first?
This is going to be depend basically on, at the moment we are, I'm not allowed to say the name. What I can say is that it is an accredited entity funded by the United Nations, and yeah, well, we have officially applied, and these people are going to help us to come up with all the economic models, and et cetera, and this will imply a concessional funding of $10 to $50 million exclusively used for the manufacturing of these machines. But yeah, this fund or NGO will have a very big say in where we are going to do the pilot and what countries or regions will be targeted, because they think, as I do too, that developing countries will have MPT is going to have a far bigger effect on developing countries than well, in, let's say, in the developed world. And during, this is interesting because I wanted to mention that during these conversations that we had with delegates of this NGO, we've basically, well, we concluded that there's going to be a very interesting side effect if MPT is adopted in whatever grade. It's come to my attention. So these people are very educated in this stuff, and a lot of developing countries really don't have any access to, well, let's say the most used fiat currencies. So that's US dollar and euro, and they hardly have any access. So MPT is convertible indirectly into US dollar, for instance. So basically, what we're generating for developing countries to have access to currencies that they do not have access to today, the only thing they have to do is recycle. I don't know if you're following, but it was a very interesting point that was pointed out to me, and it didn't even come from my designer head, but yeah. Anyway, this is a very interesting side effect that MPT is going to have. Yeah.
Right, it'd be a global currency, right? Like any cryptocurrency built on top of EOS, you know, it just be global by default. So
is that we're not treating metal as we should be treating metal. We're not doing it. It's not being considered a commodity, and it actually is a commodity, because when you have it separated and compacted, you don't need to extract it from the earth, and that will save you between 85 and 95% of energy and CO2, which is incredibly a high amount, as you can imagine. And that will have not, that is, I don't know, an effect on the price, and that is basically what we're targeting, because we from a very extensive research that plastic is being used as a packaging method because of the fact that they're 20 to 30% cheaper. And if we make or reduce that difference, it will have an impact.
Right.
Whoops.
I have one of those too, but I shut the door.
I've got a cat door in my door, so it just it doesn't work. I have to stuff it with pillows and eventually break through. So what's the call to action here? So everyone watching, like, who are you targeting? What do you want people to do who are watching this, who heard about you for the first time? What do you want them to do next?
Okay. Well, I've talked a little bit about, well, worth mentioning is that last week I was in Spain and Portugal for business trips, talking to some industry leaders. And also we did a new partnership with an environmental physics laboratory of the University of Vigo, and they are going to help us with a lot of things that we still need to outroll this in a good manner. And another very interesting item that is worth mentioning is that. Of course, we're going to have people that have read the white paper. We're going towards a community sale of an amount of tokens, and I cannot stress this enough. There is a 100% buyback guarantee for all purchasers, and the only criterion that needs to be met is that the tokens are not moved from the purchasing account. So basically, it means that if an individual wants to make an investment and you don't touch it for 12 months, if you want to get your money back after 12 months, you will. And this is not me talking. This is a smart contract that is in which this condition is encoded. So this is worth mentioning in this on this platform. I think it's basically,
so don't speculate it on it or buy off an exchange. Is basically someone who wants to participate, if they want to limit their risk on this, they would not want to engage with an exchange to purchase any tokens, because if they get it directly from the contract and then they don't move them, there is a potential for a buyback. Is the buyback
it's risk if you do it in that way? That's correct, for 12 months. So if you would buy 1 week before the sale from an exchange, of course, then you don't have that right.
Okay.
But it's only a 4-week community sale.
Okay.
So it's only 4 weeks and then it stops.
Okay, so we only got 5 minutes left. Zach, do you have any more questions?
Not off the top of my head. I'm still browsing the website a little bit, but not.
I see. So, Carlos, you have anything to add? I don't see any questions from our audience.
What about, I'm seeing, what about the discussions at ONU? I don't know what it is. Anyway, no, I just wanted to participate in this great event. I've been looking, watching to you guys all day, and I take my hat off because this must be energy consuming for you guys as well. Great job, and yeah, let's special thanks to you too. To Jacques, mainly, that has been well, basically my friend for a couple of months already, and yeah, thanks for all your help, and I'll be here for the next one as well.
You got it. Okay, thank you, Carlos.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
This is not tiring, Zach, right? You could do this all day.
No, my wife actually left the house. I didn't even realize it. I just messaged her, like, where are you? She's like, I could hear you upstairs.
Okay, so who do you say was here, Zach?
Who's here?
Jonathan Peterson?
Yeah, JP, man. He's one of my community admins at Everything EOS, and he does a lot of other community work for other projects as well.
Oh, nice.
He made his way over from the Everything EOS live stream. So if anyone's in the Everything EOS live stream, I see there's still 40 of you. I'm watching that chat, but if you want questions answered, I just shared a link to crowdcast.io/e/Endless Dappathon. There's a bunch of hyphens. Go into the description. If you're still on the Everything EOS live stream, that's where you can go to probably have a more direct line to ask questions for these projects. But I'm not really seeing questions in my chat either. So
okay, perfect. Yeah, we got quite a bit of people showing up. And Zach, you were doing ICO alerts. I was following you since your ICO alert days, actually.
Oh man,
I'm a long-time fan. Yeah.
Yeah, Rob, he went to the very first. He was already like huge into EOS since I met him, and he started getting serious about launching a node. And he was at the very first EOS New York meetup, which was, I think, February last year. And he came back into work the very next day, and he's like, "You want to do an EOS podcast with me?" And sure. And it probably sucked for a long time, but then we just got better at it, and it seems like people like what we bring. We bring the energy. We make everything that, taking something that's like technical, like a software release, for example, to make that exciting. It's hard sometimes, but like we try to explain it in a way that people can maybe get half as excited as we do. But we're just big fans of Dan Larimer. The main stuff is the scalability. We both came from a world of Ethereum where it's just like we had all these hopes and dreams for it to work. Like we were there on the front lines, basically working with hundreds of ICOs throughout 2017, 2018. We were working with almost a lot of them through ICO Alert. And were even possible, really. Like we're just now in 2019 going in and into 2020 next year, going to be able to scale to the levels that these projects were putting in their white papers in 2017. It just wasn't ready. But we saw EOS.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Rob jumped on the EOS train from the day he saw them at Consensus 2 years ago. So I'm not quite that big of an OG, but I've been following it very closely since probably September, October 2017. How about you?
Yeah, still.
What's your origin? Yeah, how'd you get in?
Oh man, that's a long story, but I was actually, I guess, like in terms of being in the space, I was in the space in 2013.
Nice.
So I was trying to build stuff on Bitcoin. I was trying to build like like a form, like a bounty system on Bitcoin. And then, it was okay back then. You pay like fraction of a cent per transaction. I mean, doing like micropayments, everything was okay. And then you have your boom and then bust. Everybody went out of business. So we were doing like projects for projects essentially. So our revenue kind of dried up, so we had to fold. Came around to the Ethereum boom. Like I never believed in the Ethereum stuff, just because like I know it for a fact as someone who's done it, like I saw CryptoKitty coming. Like I was like, if this project gets popular, it's going to kill every other single project out there. There's no coexistence for Ethereum. So yeah, and then got onto Steam. Thought Steam was a fantastic idea, but kind of restrictive in terms of what you could build on top of. That has since changed. Like people don't pay attention to Steam anymore, but they are doing a lot of exciting stuff. Most of it is spearheaded by the community, which is like fantastic. But yeah, so once EOS launched, okay, this is exactly what I needed. General purpose blockchain I could build stuff on that people could use normally. So yeah,
I think there's so much to it. I mean, the permission system, I think, still hasn't even been touched where it can be. I'm looking forward to see what teams like Chestnut are doing, where it's going to make it easy to set up your time locks and your multi-sigs and your different authentications. Like, I think that's going to be huge for users to set boundaries on the types of transactions you could do, and then like flexible signatures. So maybe if I want to send up to like 100 EOS, I only need like my signature on my one wallet, but then anything above that, having like different thresholds where you need 2 signatures from the secondary designated wallet. I think stuff like that's super interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm hoping that that's part of what Block One has, as far as making it really easy for the end user to use that functionality, and that's all just built into EOS, and it's beautiful. But not a whole lot of projects have brought that to the users yet in a very user-friendly way.
Yeah. I'm even more excited about like the recent release where they allow app developers to pay for their that in combination with Rex.
Well,
it's like
that's
just
a killer
crazy.
combo. Recently, Maple Leaf Cap put out a tweet recently, like within the last 2 days, and he compared the transaction costs of Ethereum, which have been brought down significantly to their credit. I think it's like 5 cents a transaction now. Last time I was using ETH, it was a long time ago, but it was like 20 to 50 cents a transaction. Right. But then he compared it to the current cost per one average size transaction using Rex to pay for that transaction. And it's literally like a 10,000th or like even higher of a penny for a transaction. So if you're a dapp, there's no reason you shouldn't take on the burden of the CPU for your users, because all you have to do is you work it into your business model. If you want to have a sustainable business model, you have to have some sort of revenue or funding. Even if it's a DAC, you still have some sort of way of capturing value. And as long as you can capture more value than that 10,000th or 100,000th of a penny, then you're sustainable. And that's something that's never been done before. That's near feeless transactions. And it's 100% feeless to the end user, but even for the DApp developer, it's like 10,000ths of a penny. So it that's feeless to me.
It's I know, I can't say for sure, but like I would almost say it's near competitive with like something like Amazon Web Service. Like again, I don't know, but it sounds like that way.
I think we'll see it.
Models.
We'll see a day where AWS will have just one button clicks to like spin up a private blockchain or a private DSP on the DApp network potentially. Like this isn't stuff that I think it's not even being started yet, but I'm talking like on a long timeline that they already have that, I think, for Ethereum anyway. So I think they do have their private blockchains that you could like activate through AWS. And I think it's going to be that easy to spin up a blockchain or similar services. And that's whenever, if it's as easy to launch a web server, or as easy to launch a web server as easy as it is to launch a blockchain, then as long as they're all interoperable, it's just going to be like this interconnected web. And it's hard for me to present a timeline on that because user adoption, there's so much education involved, and that's whenever I hear some of these projects, I want to believe, but there's so much friction. Like you have to have the economics of the token have to be solid. The idea behind the project has to be solid, but then you have to worry about educating this massive audience on why they should even care about this stuff. And until everything is abstracted from those end users, like we're kind of sitting ducks here. And that's kind of what I'm hoping we see with B1 June. Is some sort of onboarding strategy from them that everyone else can kind of be a part of. But until we have that ability to bring people on.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking futuristically.
Yeah, I could go on all day, but we have to.
Oh, right. No, I'd rather have a guest. I'd rather talk about something more fluid.
Yeah, so we're gonna
Who's
have
next?
Claire on. Sorry.
Oh, we're skipping dMail?
dMail's gonna come in an hour.
Okay.
So yeah.
Hey.
Hello.
Is that a real thing behind you, or is that like a digital green screen thing?
No, it's just I stick it with.
Oh, it's sweet looking. I need one of those.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. And
well, hello,
I'm
Claire.
from
Welcome.
Dice.One. Yeah. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So yeah, so Claire, Dice.One. I think everybody heard Dice.One already. I don't think there's much introduction that needs to be done, but yeah, Claire, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So today I'll talk about how Dice aims to lead the gaming world on blockchain to the next level. And I'm very confident about that, not only because Dice is a decentralized gaming platform powered by EOS blockchain, but also because it is designed to be a social gaming platform. Yeah, and well, in a sense, the Dice team has dedicated themselves to building a safe, fair, and open, borderless place for developers, not only to create and share their games, but also for wider community members, including the players, investors, and observers to entertain, socialize, and to invest in the future. And as you can see from the Dice.One website, there are already 8 games available to date, and their site is only 7 months young. So they develop very fast, right? Yeah, and the current games includes, the current game includes Texas Hold'em, Baccarat, Sigball, Dice, Blackjack, Roulette, Lottery, and Lucky Draw. And you can check their website, Dice.One, and you can see for yourself about the detailed rules and instructions about all these games, and as well as their intuitive user interface. And they are also trying to redesign their UI all the time. And it is very worth mentioning that Dice team is actively communicating with the third-party software developers, and currently at least 2 of the developers are showing great interest, and they are discussing about integration details with Dice team. But Dice team wants to surprise us, so we don't know what games are exactly yet. But everyone knows that it will be released soon, very quickly. And speak of the third parties, Dice has a long-term vision, which is to become the Steam of blockchain. And
so about that, like I heard you guys talk about it. You're gonna be a social gaming platform. What does that mean?
For most of the players, Steam is a gateway to hundreds of games, right? And that is why our Dice team is trying their best, working hard to attract third parties to launch more games on Dice platform. And they want we players have a lot of gaming experience on Dice platform. We can play different kinds of games, and not only the 8 games now. And by doing this, Dice team believe that they will create a positive circle that more funny games bring more users, right? And the more users will grab the more attention of third parties, and the third parties will try to launch and distribute their games on Dice platform. And that's how the Steam will become how the Dice will become the Steam of blockchain works.
So I think I know the answer here, but the games you're adding to your like the third party games you mentioned earlier, they're not necessarily all like casino type games. You're looking for and working with like regular games as well, right?
Yeah, all kinds of games.
Okay.
Yeah, and to make the Dice token the mechanism of Dice platform, our Dice team issued Dice token with max supply of 8.8 billion. And the Dice token can be mined by playing the Dice platform games, or you can buy the Dice token on exchanges as well. And the benefits of holding or staking the Dice token comes from receiving dividends, and it's very similar to holding shares or stocks. And it is also worth mentioning that Dice team actually delivering to its users. in the early days about the establishment time, and the team was extremely active in communicating about their intentions frequently, especially with their community members in the official Telegram group, and they promised that new games such as in the early days, Spectra and Sigma, and then they delivered this kind of games. And then they promised to launch more games such as Spectra and Lottery, and then they delivered too. And we have new poker game as well now, and I believe there is much more gaming comes, and we users all hope that we can play more games on that platform. And unlike many projects, the team the Dice team only started issuing their tokens after the Dice platform was launched. And that fact is very worth mentioning because the Dice team backed themselves, whereas most projects only attempt to raise funds to pay for the process. But Dice has already made a product upon launch. And so that give us users a lot of confidence, and it is very worth to invest, as the team is very reliable and they really launched a lot of things for us. When speak of the Dice team, all of the members, I believe, is very experienced, especially the development team. Yeah, and they have produced a lot of games on Android, iOS, and web before, and they have also created a following of 500,000 active players, and that is very worth to be proud of, right?
I didn't know that. I didn't
yeah,
know.
yeah. So Dice,
from what I know, like Dice developers are pretty secretive. Is that the case?
Oh yeah.
Which I can understand because like it is kind of like a legal gray area for most of the world, which I understand. But yeah, is that the reason?
Yeah, let her answer that first.
Is there something wrong with my network? I can't hear you clearly. Sorry.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, okay. Can you repeat that question again, because there is something wrong with my network.
So yeah, so I was just wondering. I haven't seen like Dice dev have shown their face before, which I can understand because it is a gambling. Well, they showed your gaming. With tokens and that kind of stuff. Is legal gray area. Like, do they? I don't know. Do they plan to have like a legal entity established anywhere, or is that something that they're not considering?
Yeah, they are considering this kind of thing, and so that's why they're trying to be a theme on the blockchain, because they want more games for users to play all kinds of games, not only for that kind of poker game or dice games. And yeah, so that's why they are trying to use Steam. And I said it before that they have already attracted some of the third parties, and they show great interest. I'm not sure what game exactly are, but I thought they will bring us more games of all kinds. So
what's your onboarding strategy for these third-party developers? What are the reasons they should come to build on Dice? And are you looking for games that haven't launched on their own yet and they want their launch pad to be the Dice platform? Or are you looking for projects that may have already launched with their own thing, maybe even have their own token? How would those projects move their game to Dice, and would it work synergistically with what they already have? Or are you looking to be an exclusive platform for these games?
Well, of course, Dice has a variety of strategies to attract third parties, and Dice has its own private nodes, and compared to the public ones, the private nodes ensure that our system running smoothly, and it has its own verification tool. So it allows the third parties or the players to verify the fairness of your game results. And it is very crucial for both players and third parties, because the fairness is very important for both of them. And Dice also has a marketing team that they want to try to bring more users to the platform, and more users will attract more developers to distribute their games on Dice platform. And additionally, as I said before, Dice is to redesign their IU to provide a much friendlier UI to the players, and for the players to review directly impact on the third-party decision.
Are you planning to make, like, I remember there was a gambling dapp that allowed users to play without an EOS account? Is that something like you guys considered, or that's something you guys looked into?
Yeah, they are considering this kind of things, and I believe they will figure it out.
Sorry.
Excuse me, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay.
So that was. I gotta. Oh.
And
I like your YouTube channel. Let's get off topic of Dice a little bit. It's related, but I think your YouTube channel is fantastic. It's super entertaining, and it's like just why don't you plug that and tell people how to find it, because I think that's a great place to get information on Dice if someone wants to keep up, and you do it in a very entertaining way.
I'll put the link in the chatting room. Yeah, and yeah, I would say that Dice is now developing their wallet, and they want to help advance the user experience and to provide a faster gaming platform. And to be honest, the operating barrier for new users or non-crypto users is quite high, right? And we want to launch our own application to lower the barrier of operating platform for the crypto world. And I believe the crypto world will feel the revolution after the wallet. Well, after the wallet born, and more people will be willing to give cryptocurrency a chance, and we can spread our idea of having a open, reliable, and trustless experience on the net. And that's why we are making the wallet, and we are now testing the wallet too. And for now, Dice has over 85,000 holders already, and Dice token can be traded with at least 36 kinds of cryptocurrencies, including EOS. Yeah. Okay.
Are you able to say what the next? I think you kind of said you couldn't, but are you able to say like what the next game release will be on the roadmap? We keep getting people in the Q&A asking about poker promos and things like that. Is there a poker promo coming up that I don't know about? I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I know this thing's it's like the Wild West here. I've never done a live stream like this. Someone's got a dog barking in the background or something. I got cats coming on this table.
Oh yeah.
No,
okay, I'll put the link of my YouTube channel here. Hello?
I hear you. It just got quiet. I think maybe it was his background noise. Yeah, okay. We're good. Okay. He's probably asking someone to be quiet.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're just cleaning. Yeah, so Dice, I don't know, like Dice is one of those games, we obviously had the boom of the gambling apps, like that went wild. It was like, it's like crazy amount of money being like dumped into the games. And now we kind of like seeing it cool down. And I'm just curious, like, what's the transition for Dice like? Are they planning to like kind of just stick to purely Texas Hold'em Dice, or are they gonna do a bit more kind of, you say Dice want to be the Steam of gaming, so like do you plan to launch, I don't know, like RPG games, idle games, other games like that?
Okay, currently Dice has this kind of dice game or the poker game, but it's a very long-term vision. To be a Steam, not just for maybe 2 months or 3 months. So they have a lot of strategies, and they are now preparing for a poker reality show. Yeah, and we all believe that after the show, launched, and there will be more people know about Dice, and more third parties will be launched on Dice as well.
So I heard a poker live show. So kind of like a TV, like where the audience will be able to like watch it live and see the people playing and interacting type of thing. Or what, can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, I think they are planning the show, and we don't know the details yet. But they said that they are planning about a poker reality show, and they will invite some of the maybe famous people, and we can see that through a TV channel or on the YouTube or something. I'm not very sure, and this show is for the transaction part for the Dice to be the Steam in the future. And I said it's a very long-term vision. It's not just for maybe 2 or 3 or half a year to finish, right?
Okay, cool. So we have just 4 minutes left. So I know you already told us a lot about the future of Dice, but do you have anything else to add? Like what kind of things can we be looking forward to? This new game you're talking about?
Oh yeah, they are updating the new poker and Lucky Draw for now.
Sorry?
Lucky Draw, Lucky Draw and
Lucky Draw.
Yeah. And
sorry.
It's okay. And they are trying to attract the third party. The Dice team is the most important thing for Dice team right now to do is to attract the third parties. And they are testing the new poker, and also we've added the pixEOS because the offers the avatar, right? So it's a very pleasure to meet pixEOS here today. And
very cool.
They are also modifying the UI in order to bring users a much friendly one. And meanwhile, they are trying to use the buyback strategy, playing for the poker show and promoting the Dice.One platform. So they are just trying really hard to bring the players a more delightful gaming experience, and they're trying to use this kind of things to attract the third parties and to making for better preparations for the reality show as well.
I had a question in my own YouTube channel. Is there plans for sports betting on Dice?
Yeah. I forgot it. Sorry. Yes. Yeah. They are also planning that too.
What's your plan for oracles for that? Because I'm going to self-plug LiquidApps right here, and we just launched our decentralized oracle services that could pull the results for this system. I don't know. What are you guys using for your oracles for your sports betting platform?
Oh yeah, I just
shameless plug.
Perfectly okay. Makes sense.
Okay. I agree with you.
If you don't have the answer, we can move on. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
What about peer-to-peer games? So what games right now are player versus computer compared to peer versus peer, and is the future peer versus peer for all of the newer games you're working on currently?
Well, I believe they are, as I said, they are doing the new poker game, right? And the Texas Hold'em is released now. And
cool.
And the users will try to play that kind of game, and like Baccarat and Sigma and that kind of Lucky Draw, this kind of game. And that's all I want to say.
Okay, cool. Just a note. Thank you very much, Claire.
Thank you too. Thank you for
inviting me
here today.
Yeah. Okay, just a note to everyone else. We have approached another 2-hour session, which means we have to move again to the next session. So Zach is gonna keep you entertained for just a few minutes. I'm gonna move on to the other one. I'll pull you guys all in.
All right.
And then we're gonna have Ben on finally.
Sigman?
Yes.
Cool. All right. I guess I'm here by myself. Max, if you're listening, come join or save me. Tell us a joke. Man, I don't have a joke, man. Man, this is not a fun thing to be doing right now. Can't believe I'm here talking to myself with 233 people watching. Let's do B1 June predictions. Come on, let's shout them out in the chat here, and then I'll talk about them and give my opinion on them. How about that? That seems to be what people like these days. Who's going to be at B1 June? How about that? Who got their invite? Who RSVP'd, and who's actually gonna be there? Not seeing anything.